Cyberpunk 2077 is one of the greatest games I've ever played in its current state. As a fan of Ghost in a Shell, Akira, Deus Ex, Knights of the Old Republic, or the slew of other sci-fi media from the late 90s and early 2000s, playing through Cyberpunk's campaign was like living through childhood dreams. Almost at every turn V and I made through the playthrough, my mind was blown by the attention to details within the world. From the interior textures and environmental storytelling to Night City itself, the game has finally set the standard. And we're not going to talk about the state the game came out in, goodness, 5 years ago, which rightfully was laughed at for its bountiful glitches, unpolished nature, and unplayable console versions. The reason being is exploring Night City today felt like a whole new world, filled with moments of player agency and sequences that are unrivaled in gaming. Whether it was advertisements lining almost every inch of buildings to random NPC conversations that led to deadly endings, there was life, vibrant life. Scenarios scripted or not would transpire where I had to gawk at the sheer scope of the visuals and presentation. Being at the docks as mist rolled in from the water and rain pattered the dirty streets made me feel like I was in a movie, or chasing down a cargo ship shot down by your own EMP through the desert cannot be understated. You can neutralize, maim, murder gonks in your own style made by gameplay choices of your own accord, working your way up from some low life with a hand augment to then slowing time, blasting faces off with a shotgun. It is a feeling I will never forget because it felt so satisfying. And all that time jamming to some great original game music. The main story is fantastic, mixing elements of film noir, political espionage, and philosophy so seamlessly that I was always interested in what happened next. And, that's the power of and, it's not a good RPG. I assume you're saying to yourself right about now, how could all those things you listed not lend itself to a great RPG game? And it's a great question, one I've mulled over throughout my playtime. All those great cybernetic choices for your augments, leveling up attributes and skills, then having the ability to use all of them in your own way was exceptional, and is only half of what makes an RPG an RPG. Cyberpunk is not a good RPG because it's missing the other critical half, for 3 reasons, all which branch out individually and are intrinsically intertwined. 1. Your choices throughout the campaign do not affect the game's story. Not until the ending moments do players' choices actually affect the story, most being locked by completing questlines, not how you complete them. 2. V as a character is one of the most monotone main leads I've ever witnessed, neither showing character progression nor reflection on their deeds, tragedies, or accomplishments throughout the game, making player choice feel almost irrelevant. And 3. The illusion of choice. Cyberpunk throughout its story presents dialogue options that lead to nowhere, only seldomly giving different avenues for the player to have a different experience, yet almost always ending up at the same destination. Players choosing their background at the beginning of the game and having a unique start still ends up at the same prologue mission. Even when dialogue options try to make you feel like that character, it almost always led to a dead end in the conversation, then having to click the yellow option to continue with almost no reaction or response from whoever you were talking to about your unique dialogue. It didn't feel rewarding. In a way, these optional lines were filler, even with a sprinkling of interesting lore, reference, or interaction. This is not helped by V's personality being overshadowed by almost every other character we meet, because at least we get to learn about them or their ability to show any type of emotion other than baseline and hurt. Even crazier is you'll meet some amazing side characters in the game that have more emotional growth than our character. Situations dealing with death, corporate assassination, human trafficking, hell, even the biggest question, what it means to be human, is played out in varied and interesting ways, but you wouldn't know it if you were listening to V. Far from it, V doesn't grow or change at all through his experiences. This makes the player's choices, in addition to what I defined as filler, seem unimportant and almost benign in the grand scheme of the game. The actions you take as a player, choices on how you approach missions or interact with NPCs, seldomly have actual consequences. And remember, this is all under the guise that this is one of the best games I've ever played, and it truly is. The player can choose how they go around the world or build their character, and that's only one aspect of role-playing. If all of that choice is through gameplay, not ramifications through the story, then you lose what makes an RPG an RPG. The player making an impact on the narrative through their own actions. Now, my words wouldn't mean anything if I didn't have evidence to show. To do this, we'll be going through the whole main campaign, not Phantom Liberty, dissecting gameplay mechanics, auditory soundscapes, visual presentation, and of course, the narrative, to get a clearer picture of the unique layers Cyberpunk delivers, and what it doesn't. This is my organic playthrough, how I experience the game, and I know others will have theirs, which I can't wait to read about. Please be respectful, sharing your opinions, criticisms, and replies. And there's a lot to get to, so let's get started.
Now, you find out what it is you need to do.
The player starts off the game choosing their background, Nomad, Street Kid, or Corpo, all with their own distinct briefing and presentation. For this run I chose Street Kid. You then get one of the best character customization screens in games, with details so minute but specific that it called for a recreation of a character most video game lovers will know. I present you, Adam Jensen's son. It's interesting that there's so much attention to detail for your character when the game is mostly in first person, but I think it actually lends itself to more powerful moments of physical reflection when we do see our V. Now, do you hear how V delivers this line? Remember this.
Motherfucker.
And already my mouth was open at what I was seeing graphically. I don't think I've been this enamored by graphics since I played Half-Life 2 for the first time in 2004. From the newspapers along the wall to the facial animations and the sheer number of unique characters, I already felt immersed. Our discussion with the bartender quickly concludes with V agreeing to help him out with a small situation with a fixer, Kirk, and we head upstairs. Sitting down with Kirk and his big friend, we get our first example of optional dialogue not having any tangible effect. It might seem like you've decided to be macho against the dude with the gun, but nothing comes of it. Kirk doesn't say anything, and you continue with the dialogue at hand.
A cred shark with business ethics. Sounds too good to be true.
Kirk gives us our quest to steal some crazy expensive car to pay off the bartender's debts, and we're off. Leaving the bar, V encounters Padre, who both know each other from time as a street kid. I love the fact that even though he's wearing a cross and is called Padre, there is a body in the trunk. Padre offers us a ride, and we get a sliver of backstory on V, how he had come back from Atlanta after trying to find a new life, but something didn't work out, and we're back in Night City. But before we can get anything more on V, what happened in Atlanta, or any other substantial backstory fit for a prologue, the car is stopped by some pretty augmented punks.
Looks like it's my lucky day
What do you want?
to settle our biz once and for all.
I scrambled to my notepad as this was happening, since I could not believe how amazing the texture work was. At first I thought these guys' faces were glitched or something, but then I noticed it's a welded-on augment, with seemingly realistic connection points from the face to the cranium. I enjoyed that Cyberpunk does not hold your hand when it comes to explaining why Night City is the way it is, or why these two are fighting over turf. You learn organically why things are the way they are through notes and missions. Surprisingly, there are no audio logs, which as a fan of that way of storytelling, I felt like could have been nice. Regardless, Padre drops us off and alludes to him and V having worked together before Atlanta, and again, in my playthrough, that did not come up at all. I actually think it's the last time V even talks about it, when dialogues with other characters we'll meet later could have had great opportunities to go deeper into it. V enters the garage and wow. The lighting is frickin' amazing in this game. We'll talk about it a lot later, but seeing the lights turning on through our entrance was a great touch, as opposed to the lights already being on. Also, the car models are out of this world. The garage attendant knows Kirk and does us a favor by turning off the cameras. V goes for the car, and easy, right?
Get the fuck out.
We're stopped by another thief, but before either of us can steal the ride, the police show up and I think we're in a little bit of trouble.
My old pal from the hood. See you haven't grown an ounce wiser.
I like the detail that one of the cops knows the other thief, Jackie Wells. The prologue has a lot of good dialogue and world building. Jackie tries to reason with the cops, saying there isn't enough room in the jails for such criminal actions as stealing a car, rather than murders or worse. And when the owner of the car shows up, we're learning that even though there is a police force, they're puppets to the elite.
I suggest you toss them in the sea. Cuff leg's broken so this trash doesn't float.
V wakes up after Police Brutality 101, and the two would-be thieves discuss how lucky and unlucky they are. Now, I might get some flack for this, but Jackie is probably my favorite character in the whole game. The way he actually reflects on if he wasn't there to stop V from jacking the car, then trying to make it up to him by inviting him over for Mama Wells' chili was pretty heartwarming. We also get this pretty fantastic cutscene of the two becoming friends. I would love to ask the director of the game why they chose only a few moments to use these cutscenes, since after the prologue, most narrative displays were presented in-game. The beauty of this sequence cannot be understated. Cyberpunk runs on the Red engine, a unique game engine designed by CD Projekt Red, which means all of these animations are individual. Someone had to make all of them by scratch, and it still blows me away how immersive they are. I also love that even though we're seeing a lot of chaos as Jackie and V start making their legacy, they seem to be having fun. And what a good way of setting up how V gets his own place.
What matters here is the walk you walk. In Night City, the city of dreams.
The next portion has Jackie and V waiting in a parking lot as Jackie explains the situation. They're looking for some missing girl and the last known location was here. Luckily, we can say no to the tutorial and head upstairs. We'd be here all day if I pointed out each detail in environmental storytelling, but I had to notice the scrawled graffiti talking about clean needles. Even though we're in a high-tech setting, people will always struggle with addictions. The graffiti is one way of showing that people are being left behind and society is not alright. We get a call from T-Bug, our hacker, and I was excited by that since we had a squad.
Bug, could at least try to be nice.
You want nice, supportive? Call the damn helpline.
Jackie and V find the apartment that our girl might be in, and we get our subtle tutorial on how to sneak around and scan objects, kill bandits, you name it. Now, because YouTube might not like robotic tits, I'm going to have to blur out certain portions of the game, but you have to marvel at the texture work. We stealth our way to the back room and discover Sandra Dorset in not good shape. This is how you world build. You don't need to be spoon-fed that bandits kidnap people and harvest their cybernetics, you're seeing it firsthand. It's provocative and narrative building. Talk about unique animations, from Sandra's eyes fluttering when we connect to her, then the biometric data showing up through our eyes. I was flabbergasted, and it just gets better from here. Through the connection, V gets the information that Sandra has some special type of health insurance, and something called a trauma team should be responding quickly. V stabilizes her and takes her out to the landing, where we get this insane visual of the trauma team landing. This is the type of visual presentation I live for in games, and I did laugh that the medical team was kitted out like a special forces unit.
Place the patient on the ground.
Which is also a great way of showing the player that things are wild in Night City. The two leave the apartment and Jackie asks to borrow V's car for a date he has with a girl named Misty, and we oblige. Now, I know it's the prologue, but I would have loved to have the option to talk to Jackie about what we just saw in the apartment. Jackie is obviously disgusted by what we've witnessed while inside, but you don't have any option to ask more questions. Showing instead of telling has a high ceiling, but you need the contrast, at least I think so. We get a call from our fixer that presumably gave us this mission. She informs the two that Watson, I'm guessing our home neighborhood, is being locked down due to some police activity and we'll have to book it. On the drive over, we do get this dialogue about legends of Night City, and the word legend in this universe is a two-edged sword.
Morgan Blackhand, Andrew Wayland, Adam Smasher. Legends are born here.
It's talked about a lot throughout the game, how you become a legend, and it's usually not great for the person named. It's an interesting thought that Jackie and presumably V understand that most legends of Night City either die because of mass destruction or border on not even resembling a human, yet they still go after this goal. I took this as they have no other option other than sitting on their asses, but what's your take on that? We get another quick tutorial on how to shoot while in a car, and as much as I like the concept of these portions, which happen throughout the game, the balancing is a little off since most of those times these sequences are accompanied by a predetermined endpoint. So you'll shoot a car or a motorcycle a ton of times, but they won't die until they pass that scripted point. V takes care of the assailants and we try to get into Watson. Again, Jackie shines through his dialogue and his spectrum of character. It doesn't matter there are RoboCops at this checkpoint. He's cool as a cucumber.
Officer, ma'am. Damn, are we ever lucky we ran into you.
Really? What's it that makes me so special?
Heart of gold?
There are a lot of car sequences within Cyberpunk that I think work now that there is a skip time function. You get the dialogue and you can also look around at the world on your own time. I caught myself a lot of times just looking out the window, not even noticing the dialogue had finished, marveling at what I was seeing. Plus you get these moments regardless of scripting that really paint a vivid picture.
Doesn't look like your average bust.
This ain't your average badges. That's Max Tac. NCPD's apex predators.
We get our first level, and I absolutely love the system because of the way it progresses. You have attribute points that unlock different tiers of perks. Your perk points give you access to a wide range of gameplay actions that build up over your game time. Then, within those attributes, you level up skill progressions by using perks you unlock. All of this makes the gameplay loop and build up of V exceptional. It, however, almost never affects anything else in the story. If you have higher intelligence or cool, there are optional lines of dialogue, but they're illusionary. There are times that it does affect a moment or a sequence, and I will point those out, but for the most part, you're clicking on that yellow option of dialogue regardless of what you've said or the attributes you have. Another insane game engine detail, and seriously, I do not know how they pulled this off, is videos within the game. For this instance, it's the news personality within the elevator. There were lots of these around the city that gave a lot of backstory, and the conversation being displayed is one to think about. There is a mention of a new implant, something called Relic, that supposedly can copy the consciousness of a dying person into a new body. I immediately thought of Ghost in a Shell or Soma, and the conundrum that it creates. Are you truly you when you switch over, or are you a copy of yourself? If the human mind can be condensed into code, then it's not a human mind, but a version of that. It was also a neat touch to have the priest as the other talking head. As right as he may be that the relic chip might destroy what it means to be human and will only be for the rich and powerful, the church is not devoid of spreading the same sermon on the other half of the coin. Remember, out of the two people arguing, neither has to be right. We rest up in home and have some sort of chip malfunction. Christ, we really are Jensen's son. Leaving the apartment, we get another beautiful visual of this world. Instantly, I thought of Judge Dredd and the megacities, but I think Cyberpunk does a great job with taking influences from other media and making it uniquely their own. Also, as a writer, the greatest form of flattery is imitation, as they say. We head down to meet Jackie, who said he had some business to discuss, and they must have worked on the crowds in this game since when I first played, I did not remember it being this populated. I meant what I said by vibrant life. Whether it was small conversations between NPCs that you can eavesdrop on, or simple things like seeing people wait for the light, it just resonated with me. Jackie informs us that he's gotten into contact with another fixer, Dexter Deshawn, who has a big gig lined up and has personally requested us as the heisters. Is that actually a word? Wow. The narrative here is solid. I believe that Jackie and V would want to work with Dexter, who was big time before some gang war made him lay low. Regardless of the risk involved, the idea of becoming a legend involves exactly that. Risk. But first we'll need to visit a RIP dock to fix whatever system malfunction is happening to us. We get our first opportunity to drive around Night City and wow, does the driving still stink. At least in the first car you have, the back end loses all grip at medium speed. And once I got the motorcycle, there was no looking back. It does give you an amazing view in third person, and now they did fix up most of the AI being worse than Jersey drivers, you wouldn't get slammed into randomly to cut the mood. We say hi to Misty, Jackie's girl, and head down to Victor, our Ripper Doc. Victor is a great character, and feels like a pseudo-father figure to V, telling him not to worry about the credits he owes him, and does the diagnostic for free.
You peruse and choose while I scan, and see what's going on inside.
Again, these animations are mind-blowing, and the UI is sleek and easy to understand. It also acts as a small tutorial for scanning, or what I call 2077 Witcher senses. Seriously, it's that but electronic. V thanks Victor for the free tune-up, and Jackie tells us to go meet Dexter, who's parked pretty close to us. There's some great voice acting in this game, and I think Dexter is one of the best. Immediately, I was intimidated by the cigar smoke and the augmented golden arm. It's such a perfect way to introduce the character.
Would you rather live in pieces, Mr. Nobody, die ripe, old, and smelling slightly of urine, or go down for all times in a blaze of glory, smelling near like posies, without seeing your 30th?
It's first place or no place, Dex. Cost isn't a factor.
V has explained the mission. Find some prototype biochip and steal it for Dex. Unfortunately, it's an Arasaka chip, which holds a lot of weight apparently, since the other option of dialogue is, "That's a death sentence." But before we even go after the chip, we need to deal with Dexter's situation with some gang called the Maelstrom Boys. It made me chuckle how many gangs there were, and gives a lot more credence to when Jackie briefly mentioned the gang wars of 2 years ago. Dexter gives us the cool electronic rundown on the gang and what he needs us to do. The gang jacked a nifty piece of Militech equipment and had already agreed to sell it to Dexter, but a change in leadership has complicated the handover. Militech also knows about the convoy being raided, which might help or hurt our goals, but gives us a lead. We also get a rundown of the client who hired Dexter for the prototype chip, a one Evelyn Parker, who has insisted on meeting the heist team, or at least one of us. V can find Evelyn at Lizzie's bar, and I love the little back and forth with the bouncer. There is a reason why it's guarded by two badass women, which you can read about later. Walking into the club made me think of the first time I went to a stripper joint in GTA 4. God damn, why is that a core memory? Anyways, the atmosphere is exquisite, hosting many characters and interesting lighting. Sitting down at the bar, we try to get some information on the client, but she finds us first. Evelyn is mysterious, and the throwaway line about knowing V's preferred tequila is a good way of showcasing that, since the two have never met in person. Evelyn brings us into one of the booths and discusses the job. We're going after the relic chip, the one the news guy was talking about before, and to make matters even more challenging apart from stealing from a multi-trillion-dollar company, Yorinobu Arasaka is going to be around the premises. We don't know much about his character yet, but I'm assuming to get to the point where the company is, this might not be a walk in the park. What's weird is that Evelyn says that Yorinobu doesn't have a security detail and seems to be out of favor with his father, the head of Arasaka. She also divulges that Yorinobu has stolen the relic chip and is trying to sell it to some entity called Netwatch. This felt like the beginning of a Hitchcock film.
Have you spotted my ace yet, or do I need to spell things out?
Evelyn is convinced we're the one for the job and leads us further into the club. The term BD, or brain dance, has been thrown around, and we can see from the booths that it's some virtual reality device that I'm guessing will show anything the buyer wants, but has a different function for us. Evelyn mentions that she has recorded the room that Yorinobu uses at the hotel and will be able to plan our heist through the brain dance, which as a concept is pretty cool, but in practice is probably my least favorite thing in the game. V meets Judy, the best brain dance editor Evelyn knows, and who will help us dissect the footage. Now, even though I said skip the tutorial for the brain dance editor, they still put you into a redacted tutorial. Even though the pacing here is non-existent, it does show how powerful these brain dances can be for a person. V witnesses or experiences the robber getting blasted in the head, and almost comes out like he was the one with the bullet in the brain.
It's impressive, right? It's too bad most of the BDs we do here are only good for flogging the log. Anyway, you ready to do this? Look at your wreck?
Dunno, let's take a break.
Judy doesn't trust us or T-Bug, but is forced by Evelyn to agree, and we go inside Nakatomi Plaza, Konpeki Tower. And now I get to rail on the worst function in this game. The brain dance takes too much time, and could have been done cinematically with intent and direction. Instead, we get the worst of the Witcher senses. There are 3 layers to a brain dance: visual, audio, and temperature. As cool as that might seem being a cyberpunk detective, your rewind speed is worse than a VHS tape, and you're only able to pinpoint objects they want you to pinpoint. This leads me to thinking it would have been better as just a cutscene, since nothing you do actually affects the outcome. If you were timed or had a limited number of choices during the brain dance that somehow changed the heist, I would be okay with that. It serves a function. But when you have to find each piece of the puzzle, it's not rewarding, it's just tedious. It's an illusion. At least with The Witcher, you're presented the linearity without the smoke and mirrors. We do get to meet Adam Smasher, some fully augmented human that I would not want to mess with, and after literally 15 minutes of searching around each layer and rewinding slowly, we find where the chip is located. Out of the brain dance, I wish I could have asked Judy more questions about herself, how she got into business with Evelyn, her work previously, but I couldn't. V is just ushered away by Evelyn. V questions if Evelyn has played her cards right, meaning that Yorinobu has no idea she's recorded all of that, and that we're coming. But she seems pretty confident in the plan.
It shouldn't matter. He won't react in time. And that's something you'll handle, right?
She also asks us to cut Dexter out of the picture, which felt a bit odd to me since he was the one that found us, and I decided not to engage. We do engage with the Militech link, Meredith Stout, who is pretty pissed from the get-go, but does accept a meetup.
Spill what you know. Don't make me wait.
She is pretty pissed when we meet her too, and forces us to do a lie detector test trying to figure out how the convoy got robbed and if this poor soul we see in the background is a rat. A neat detail is looking at the eyes of the guy implementing the detection system. They're red when he's hacked into us and then goes back to normal once he's out of our system. We tell Meredith the truth and she easily gives us the funds to buy the bot from Maelstrom Gang, which seemed a bit mysterious since she put a gun to her head just like a moment ago.
Fine, the latter. But on one condition. You pay with our money.
Sounds solid enough. I'm in.
Meeting up with Jackie, we tell him that we've got the credit chip and we're all ready to make the deal. The Maelstrom's hideout was pretty awesome. I thought they'd be some ragtag group of psychos and they might be crazy, but they had high-tech machinery in the brief time we walked around the joint. Even cooler is that they seem to be more on the augmented side than human, with these insanely detailed eyes. Jackie and V ask to see the merchandise and Dum Dum, yeah that's his name, gives us a reveal. Look, folks, I don't know what better animations are in the market right now, and it kind of makes me sad Witcher 4 will be on the Unreal Engine. From the movement of the bot, then the camouflage, this is an achievement. Unfortunately, we meet the new leader of the gang, and he is not a happy camper.
I don't see any fucking brick around here, do you?
V does convince him we're good for the money and hands him the credit chip we get from the Militech woman. But, of course, that gut feeling turned out to be right, since the second they upload the eddies, they inadvertently uploaded the virus too, and it fries a lot of them. I don't want to say stealth was impossible for this sequence, but it really felt like until you got a lot of perks for that playstyle, enemies would easily detect you, and there wasn't some Splinter Cell visibility meter to work with. I also thought it was kind of funny that you could just run from the leader instead of fighting him. I guess it's up to the player, but I was expecting him to come back in some way that I didn't experience. And just like that, our first part was completed. Stout is happy with us uploading the virus and not shouting at her for double-crossing us, and we go on our merry way. But before we go to the afterlife to see Dex, this is a perfect example of the monotone reaction V has to literally everything in the game. We just got double-crossed by Militech, survived one of the strongest gangs we've seen so far, and this is how our character sounds?
Thanks, Jack. Solid as ever.
Hey, yeah, you too, but, hey, what's this about? You feeling all right?
Yeah, I want to make sure, you know? We're good together. I like how we do things.
Remember the bar at the beginning? It's like we're sitting there having these lines delivered to us with no reflection or recognition of what we just accomplished. And I cannot begin to comprehend what it takes to direct a game. The hundreds of people that are needed to communicate every day to make a game like Cyberpunk, and the effort of every person involved, including V's voice actor. I don't know if it was purposeful or not, but the end result is there. V talks from the same place no matter what has happened. Dexter calls us to get the lowdown and tells us to meet him at the afterlife, so we head over. Jackie is on the phone with his mom, and I loved how V has some augment that translates other languages. It's such a neat touch and made it plausible that we know what people are saying even if they aren't speaking English. We also get more backstory on Jackie, and why they couldn't have done this with V is beyond me. I understand wanting the player to imprint on the character they're playing, but because other featured people have such interesting backstories, it just felt like V's story was unimportant. Another check off for Jackie and V's idea of becoming a legend, they call getting into the Afterlife Club the Major Leagues. And the excitement on Jackie's face and tone says it all.
We fucking earned it, mano.
Dex isn't ready for us as we enter, so the two decide to grab a drink. Jackie mentions Rogue, another infamous fixer that apparently does crazier heists than stealing chips from Arasaka, which was intriguing. Sitting down at the bar was a great moment and shows what character growth looks like. V asks how someone gets a drink named after them, and the bartender tells them that they have to go out in some wild or gnarly way. Again, this notion shows the zeitgeist, at least for the people like Jackie and V, go big or go home. Jackie even gives what his drink recipe would be: a shot of vodka on the rocks, lime juice, ginger beer, and most importantly, a splash of love. If you're of age to drink responsibly and moderate yourself, it's a pretty good drink. But we don't have time to relax since Dex has sent for us, and again, each location has its unique style. Yes, there were some ads that were copied over or textures reused, but for the most part, I always felt like I was strolling through something new, which was exciting. We enter this sort of deprivation tank where Dex and T-Bug are waiting for us. We're asked how meeting Evelyn went, and I thought it not best to tell him she tried to cut him out of the deal. This again is another example of having the attribute ability to say something, but coming back to the two main options.
I don't know. Sent out mixed signals, so I got mixed feelings.
Struck me too.
You saying we putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5? Some part of the equation's missing then, clearly. Anything else?
It might enlighten us on a small detail, but never played a part in the narrative. You could argue this is a prologue and they want you to go where you're going, but it's prevalent regardless of where you are in the story. T-Bug and Dex fill us in on the small stuff, how we're getting to the hotel, how we infiltrate it, and why that Militech bot is so important to all of this. T-Bug explains there are people called netrunners that monitor the high-tech security of these places. They might be more machine than person, but they're still vulnerable physically. The bot will allow us to gain access to the runner and put them offline, giving us access to Yorinobu's hotel room. V and Jackie will also assume false identities, and the Hitchcock feeling of something is going to go wrong intensifies.
Now, as that old Greek dog says, life's a banquet, so don't go thirsty, but don't get drunk either. Your chariot awaits outside.
Another nifty character insight is that Dex and T-Bug reference Greek philosophers and other literature, seemingly to one-up Jackie and V, thinking they wouldn't understand those references. Remember that. We get a flash forward and enter the Delamain car, an ultra-luxury taxi that Jackie is enamored with, and maybe for a good reason. But as cool as all of this was, V can be a huge dick to Jackie during the scene, saying that they're not on their way to a party but a big heist. Yeah, let your friend have this moment.
Dex managed to buy you off that cheap? With a suit? A limo? Dunno, Jack. Kinda feels like you're losing that steel grip of yours.
Huh. Seems to me like it's you who's got some kind of problem.
Jackie retorts back with asking V if he thinks he's that shallow, which the game is trying to show Jackie might get the short end of the stick by others.
Say something, Bug.
The greatest crimes issue from a desire for excess and not from necessity.
Say what now?
Aristotle. Guess you read me then.
Yeah, I read you. Not so much your Greek friend, though it was kind of exciting.
Could give it some thought. Try to understand. How about you, V?
I want more Aristotle.
Wow, what a great dialogue choice. Jack and V make it to the hotel and sign in. It was pretty cool going through the hotel security and having that brief moment of, oh shit, they're gonna find out who we are. But playing it smooth, we get through and head up to our room to unveil the Militech bot. We have to manually guide the bot throughout the different rooms, and I had less of a problem with this compared to the brain dance since you only have one medium to go through, the visual layer. You also get to listen in on a conversation with some agent from Arasaka and presumably a politician or mayor of the city. This brief moment that the player didn't even have to pay attention to comes back as a small world beat later, which I thought was excellent, even if it didn't have any profound effect on the city itself. It also establishes that Arasaka fiddles with more than technology. After a couple more rooms, we sick the bot on the Netrunner and have access to the systems. Flash forward a couple of hours and Jackie has a small monologue about Yorinobu and how he's confused why a person would reject his family when he had everything. Yet there was no time to talk about the guy when there was a job to do, and the two make their way up to the penthouse. I did like the fact that physically being in the penthouse felt a bit different from the brain dance. Maybe it was the freedom of movement, not from an omnidirectional camera. Regardless, it was a cool contrast. With the information from the BD, we click the switch and unveil the chip, which is housed in some protective case. But just as everything was going right, something had to change.
We got winged visitors. Look!
Don't know who, but staff's abuzz. All 200 on their feet can't keep still.
Can't say I like this.
Yorinobu is coming back to the penthouse, and with those ships inbound, something big is going down, and we don't have enough time to leave. Finding the hiding spot and witnessing the next scene from our perspective was genius. The added tension from organically viewing the interaction about to unfold was palpable. The person arriving was none other than the Emperor himself, and we'll get information on why he's called that later. For now, we almost get found out, but both bodyguards are told to leave so the father and son can have a nice chat. I'm assuming the Emperor is pissed that his son stole the relic chip, but he says it's mostly about the son trying to sell it to foreign powers, which was an interesting take. There is a lot of geopolitical backstory that came to the surface throughout the playthrough, and again, the game doesn't just put it in your face. You'll have to discover it for yourself most of the time. But as any good Greek tragedy goes, Yorinobu strangles his father, and we've just witnessed patricide.
Oh shit.
I wish to put the hotel on lockdown.
May I ask why?
Saburo Arasaka has been murdered.
Code Red initiated.
Smasher and the Emperor's bodyguard come in after the signal is called, and Yorinobu strong-arms his late father's guard into working for him, since his contract is for the family, not just the Emperor. The three leave, but V and Jackie are stranded with Corpo security about to tear down the place. T-Bug finds a Matrix way of getting out of the penthouse, but is caught by Arasaka cybersecurity and is disconnected from communication, leaving V and Jackie left to fend for themselves. These moments, or what I call spectacles, are one of the major ways this game rocks. The model work on these drones is awe-striking, and then hearing it speak Japanese was a great touch. With a fall like that, the relic's protective case is starting to lose charge, and the integrity of the chip is failing. Jackie has also been shot, and things are going from bad to worse.
Okay, listen to me. There's only one thing you can do. One of you's gotta slot the relic into your neural port.
That doesn't sound safe.
The longer you wait, the greater the risk we'll lose it.
Well, someone's gotta do it.
Making our way through the hotel's upper levels was another level design masterpiece. You don't come back to this place, and that means some team worked hard to make it. Seeing the dedication to the world's interiors is a marvel. Also, Cyberpunk has some great destructible cover. I was kind of floored by this, maybe because I came from a time where companies would advertise their games solely on interactive environments like Battlefield Bad Company 2. It was just another small detail that builds into the universe you're experiencing. Jackie and V make it to the elevator, and Jackie mentions the Emperor was 150 years old, which is kind of remarkable since he didn't look like some augmented Gundam. Also, remember, people think Jackie isn't well read. In the elevator, he references Dante's Divine Comedy, which I thought was a great rebuke of that. The two fight through more security forces, then I absolutely was starstruck by this mech dropping in from the skylight. Even if we mowed down numerous enemies so far, this was nothing to mess with. We make it to the garage and somehow get into the taxi and are almost off scot-free until this dude shows up, and again, just wow. Everything here is incredible and cinema. V fights off drones, but Jackie isn't looking good. Dalmain refuses to alter the destination because Dexter paid for the car, and we get the other side of V's emotional range. Angry when Jackie is going through the last stages of life.
Fuck your liberty! Do what I say!
It's okay, V. Oh, hold out.
Jackie gives the relic chip to V and we put it in, but even with the prize, this moment hurt. It was painful to see someone with ambition and care not being able to be saved. It made every fiber of my being ache. And how does V respond to sending Jackie's body to Mama Wells?
I want to be with his family. See you in the major leagues, Jack.
Is it just me, or wouldn't you be crying if you just saw your best friend murdered and the robo-taxi not taking you to the hospital? Not just some fist bump on a shoulder. Before meeting Dex in the hotel, news of the Emperor's death has already reached the news, and you get a bit of backstory on the character, and that the United States apparently schismed in 1996. Inside the motel room, Dex is starting to understand that they're in a world of shit.
And the Jackster, he out in the car?
Don't care to know how Jackie is?
Tone, you best watch it.
That has to be ironic, since I didn't sense any tonal change from V. Even worse is that you can't shout at Dex for presetting the GPS, something you just learned like 2 seconds ago. 2 minutes have passed since Jackie's body got carted off, and you can't even say anything about it. We do lie to Dex about not having the chip, and V takes a second in the bathroom. This is one of those reflection moments, physical and philosophical, that's well done. You haven't seen your face in a while, and you might have to remember what you look like and who you are after something like this. Also, as Jensen's son, I had to smash the mirror.
Alright then.
And it's a double cross.
Remember our first convo?
I'll fucking kill you!
Seems I've chosen the quiet life after all. No blaze of glory for me.
V gets Fallout New Vegas, and we get the title card 3 hours into the game. What is this, The Departed? But we're not dead, or are we? The player finds themselves with a quest, Love Like Fire, and its objective is to go on stage. Plus the date is August 20th of 2023, 50-something years before the events that just took place. We get another reflection, but this time we're not V, but Keanu Reeves? Okay, I forgot to add a fourth thing to the list. Keanu Reeves being in the game. There's so much nonsense about how Keanu got into the game in the first place, and it doesn't matter. Whether CD Projekt Red saw the reaction he got on stage and his enthusiasm for the project, or they thought having a big name would help sell the game is irrelevant. He's in the game and that's that.
Tonight, I'm here to say goodbye to all of you.
However, and this is my personal opinion, having Keanu Reeves literally looking exactly like Keanu Reeves in the real world took me out of the immersive quality they were trying to go for. Other games have started using mocap with great effect. I think of Norman Reedus in Death Stranding, or motion capture Origins in LA Noire. But, and it's a big but here, those are not RPGs. Those games and others that utilize known actors from our real world do so because the director wanted actors to portray those roles. Keanu does a great job at Johnny Silverhand, but he doesn't revolutionize his acting method, which is okay. and he could have just been the voice. Seeing literally the dude I grew up with from Bill and Ted, The Matrix, and The Lake House, wait no, not that one, pulled me out of the last 3 hours of being slowly immersed in the unique world CD Projekt Red was developing. I thought of random actors that would derail an experience of an RPG if they were just themselves in it. What if Sean from Fallout 4 was played by Bradley Cooper, Cicero being Nicolas Cage, or Vesemir being Christopher Walken? It wouldn't be the same. Did anyone else feel like this? It's the last time I'll bring it up because again, what's on paper is there, but why was this the choice is beyond me, and I want to know what you thought of it. Okay, so with that out of the way, Johnny Silverhand is some rocker who has a temperamental attitude to say the least, and keeps saying he'll see his bandmates in the next life. So something is going down. A helicopter is waiting for him and Rogue, the woman Jackie mentioned in the afterlife. So she must be like 90 in present time. Do they have de-aging tech? Because how does she and the Emperor live so long? Regardless, we get this amazing helicopter ride that again, my mouth was starting to hurt from it being dropped on the floor from these visuals and build-up. Johnny and the gang are going straight to Arasaka Tower and with some heavy-duty weaponry. I had no idea what was going on, why we were mowing down Arasaka troops, but I was here for it. Also, the gun sounds are perfect in this game, and I'll talk about them more later. This particular gun just had a great oomph to it. Also, was that a radioactive label on whatever's in the bag? I guess that we're about to set off a nuclear device within Arasaka Tower, and oh boy, things are getting wild.
Bushido 2, bomb's name was what?
Wrap it up! We got a Delta!
The Demolitron. We're good to blow.
Shaka Elite's incoming! Run for it!
Johnny shoots the elevator cables and then has one more plan up his sleeve to upload a mysterious drive to Arasaka subnet, which Rogue is not happy with, and you get the impression he does this a lot. Writing the script with what I know now, this will all make sense, but at the time playing I thought Johnny was just in it for the groupies. And let me reiterate, I absolutely love the story we're about to witness. I still don't think the game is a good role-playing game. Johnny's about to leave when we meet none other than the less augmented Adam Smasher, which, again, how the hell did they stay alive so long? Somehow we evade that encounter, but as we're about to get to the helicopter, Smasher has the last laugh.
Smasher.
Told you, Johnny boy. Told you I'd end you someday.
The presentation after the bomb goes off is one of the coolest sequences I can remember. From seeing the tower on fire to the mushroom cloud in the background of the Arasaka black site, I was hooked.
Hey, Gramps. I know you. Let's see.
Even better is when the Emperor finally talks to Johnny, he blocks out the mushroom cloud, signifying that he is more powerful than the atom bomb, or at least that's how I interpreted it. Johnny is hooked up to some device and something called Soul Killer is primed and commences an engram transfer. What that means, well, you'll have to stay and find out. The next sequence is in cyberspace, or some world outside our own, but also is some version of the Arasaka room Johnny and Smasher fought in first. But as quickly as we get there, our system does a reboot and V is somehow alive in a trash heap, but I think there might be a Windows update or two we missed. As V crawls forward, we see none other than Dexter Deshawn and the Emperor's bodyguard. V is dragged a bit and then we witness the bodyguard kill Dex right in front of us, which felt pretty satisfying.
Now, listen, dog. I have done exactly what you asked. So let's you and me figure this out.
荒坂様、お父様の殺害犯を見つけました。この男で間違いありません。はい。1時間後には着く。
Help me.
Quiet.
Our augment system is worse off than the recall chip in Deus Ex, and for some reason, the bodyguard is helping us. It also seems like he's gone AWOL since we're being chased by a ton of mercenaries. Again, I don't know why they chose some chases to be cinematic and some to be in player control. I did enjoy the shooting aspect of car chases, but when I hit this augment dude like 12 times, only for him not to die and have to wait for the script line, why not just have it out of our control and enjoy the presentation? I say this again and again because this moment was epic.
Keep your eyes open.
Fuck.
Before V passes out again, the bodyguard asks us for a Ripper doc we can trust, and luckily Dalamain comes to the rescue. I thought it was a great touch that the onboard AI is walking the bodyguard through the steps of stabilizing us, and made me think of literally what just happened to Jackie. We get to Victor's shop and things are again not looking good. V is going through some major somethings, but after an undisclosed amount of time, Victor wakes us up from the almost beyond. V then describes what he's been seeing, and also what he's been feeling, which was an interesting line. Victor then explains that those moments were not just a dream, but memories. Johnny's memories. He also explains that we don't have a lot of time left, which, do we really worry about that right after being shot in the head? I don't know. But we're glad to have the information. The relic chip is described as a bomb in our head. Johnny's psyche is overriding our own and will eventually take over our body. That's pretty freaking crazy and a great concept, and V does have some emotion in his voice for this portion.
Never given me that look before, Vic. What is it?
And it goes away.
Vic, you've always come through for me.
Vic tells us that because Dex shot us and in a way killed us, the relic chip started the process of taking over because of nanites within the chip reconstructing whatever had been damaged. I love the concept of the body can be changed, modified, morphed, but the mind is something that cannot. It's what makes us all individuals, unique, free. Theseus' ship has met its match. Another thing I like from the dialogue is Victor telling us that it's not even Johnny who is doing the recoding of our psyche, but the chip itself. It's programmed to do its function, and it is doing exactly that. And we can't take it out because it will kill us on the spot. Misty wheels us out of the docks and back to our room. There was something about how they did this perspective of us sort of gliding through the room, which was eerie and intriguing. Misty tells us to take this medicine to stifle the process of the chip, or we can take the one that will speed up the process for whatever reason. Plus, you get the visual of the red pill and the blue pill, and wasn't Johnny Silverhand in that movie? See what I mean? Before leaving, Misty gives us a chain with the bullet that was in our skull, and I really liked her character for a lot of reasons, which we'll get to later. She actually reminisces about Jackie and how the two had a fight right before the job, which was poignant.
He talked about you. Like lots.
We got into a fight right before he went off to do this job.
He wasn't mad at you. I hope you know that.
I know. I just wish our last moments together could have been different.
V wakes to Johnny talking about escaping wherever he thinks he is, and I like that the construct of Johnny doesn't know he's being resurrected by a program. Instead, he's asking V who he works for, rather than knowing he's in our body. It gets to the point where Johnny tries to take control of V's body, and fortunately, we're able to scoop a pill before any serious damage can be done.
Hear me, asshole? A bullet to the fucking brain!
Fuck me.
V again wakes up and we get this beautiful homage to Ghost in a Shell's opening, with the vista being presented to us. Leaving our apartment, Takamura calls us, the bodyguard, and tells V that he is the one that saved us from the scrap heap and Arasaka goons. We accept a meetup and start heading to Tom's diner. Now remember that political meeting we saw in the Militech bot before hacking the Netrunner in the hotel? Well, the news in the elevator is that the mayor has died suddenly and his deputy is taking over. Maybe I'm misconstruing what I saw, but do we see that being planned within the room? I thought so for a while playing and was really astonished how cool that world building was. Lots of little beats add up over time. Meeting Takamura at the diner was another jaw dropper because look at the detailed augments. Folks, this might sound like I'm beating a dead horse here, but I grew up on this. Yeah, there's something about leaving the imagination to the player, but the way they went about facial animations and textures didn't even hit the uncanny valley. It was just perfect. And yet again, even with multiple dialogue options, we always get to the same ending. Nothing special about asking him why he saved us or the biochip, just what does he want from us? It's not like I wasn't wanting to figure it out, but why even have the options and not just have straight up dialogue? Takamura does explain that he wants us to find Evelyn Parker, the girl that started this whole thing, and someone who could possibly help us take out the chip. Takamura also tells V that he wants to avenge the Emperor, knowing that we didn't kill the man.
Yorinobu Arasaka must answer for this crime of patricide.
Looking for justice. In Night City.
I seek revenge. Much more feasible here.
That's a great line and one that resonated with me throughout the playthrough. The semblance of justice is gone from this area of the world, and revenge is a dish served warm and to go. Takamura even suggests going to Arasaka or someone who works for them to see if they'd know how to remove the chip if the Evelyn plot doesn't come to fruition, and the name Anders Hellman comes up. While doing the preparation for the mission, V did his homework, and Anders is the chip's designer and creator. But the catch is the dude has flipped companies, making him a corpo trader. The TV suddenly shows a woman which interests Takamura, but the owner turns it off, saying some bad words about the person. We get the option for Street Kid, awesome, using our backstory, and it's just a one line about Tom being a good guy? Christ almighty, that's it. V says he'll need time to think about working with the ex-bodyguard, which gives Takamura a chance to figure things out on his side. Interestingly enough, Anders was the one who told the Emperor of Yorinobu's intentions for the chip, and that's why he defected from the company, but now is on the target list of Arasaka. So we have our marching orders and two leads, Evelyn Parker and Anders Hellman. It's up to us which we go for first.
Zapper dumples and filth. In some ways, Night City never changes. Arasaka's still a despotic machine and the world's on a collision course with chaos. But hey, at least Rogue's still alive.
V and Johnny have their first calm encounter, and I laughed at the part where Johnny tells V he doesn't need to talk out loud since they're both in V's head. And retrospectively, it shows the chip has already started to really take over. I would think that having your psyche being slowly erased would be startling, if not overwhelming to a person, but V is still talking on that bartender's stool.
You're the ghost of Christmas past, asshole. Any friends you had are either dead or so old their memory's gone.
Regardless, we called Judy, the braindance tech we met up with before the heist, and asked her to meet since it's our only contact that both Evelyn and V knew. With some reluctance, Judy divulges that Evelyn was a doll that worked at the Clouds establishment. It's another moment where I'm glad they didn't just say what a doll was, since when you discover it for yourself, it was a pretty harrowing moment, at least for me. You can also tell that Judy does care about Evelyn a lot by the tone of her voice, and even asks us to give her a call once we know more information. Entering Clouds was one of those immersive moments, and not for the reason you might think. As much as I sound like an old fart saying, we're closer than ever to this actually happening, we really are. The receptionist asked V to jack in. God, could there be a better phrase for that? The AI searches through us for information on our type, taste, kinks, you name it. With our chosen doll, V takes his spot, and this is one of the cooler sequences in the game. The eyes convey a lot in Cyberpunk, and this doll is under the influence of something else. Or someone else.
You fear this. Cower before it.
So what if I do? Why do you care?
Of all the voices in your head, the loudest is that calling for help. Look around. All of this is your doing.
This is probably the deepest discussion in the game that V has, where the entity and him are talking about what he truly fears, what it means to die, and what it means to live.
You've never backed down from anything in your life. Even when you maybe should have. You go through Night City knowing a stray bullet could end you while hailing a cab. But that's never stopped you from taking action. Going where you needed to go. And it won't stop you now.
V says the safe word and bam, the entity we were talking to is gone. Seeing the real woman wake up and fearful if she did something wrong was so jarring and intense, I was flabbergasted and needed a second to digest what had just happened.
What happened? I do something wrong?
In a way, whatever takes over is not dissimilar to Johnny taking over our psyche, and the fact that it is so common was troubling to say the least. We asked the real girl about Evelyn and with some eddies convince her to give us any details she has. She mentions Tom, Evelyn's top customer, and we pay him a visit in the VIP room. Maybe our choices as a player to go into a certain attribute line would make a dent in the narrative, but nope, just Oslo or Osaka, and we're back to V sounding like he just woke up without any agency to free himself from the chip's takeover.
Which was it? Osaka or Oslo?
Oslo. Yeah, definitely Oslo.
I would rather have Dumbledore said calmly than this. Tom tells V that Evelyn stopped showing up to work and that the club owner, Woodman, might know where to look next. I enjoyed this film noir detective work and was interested to see where it went. But before we talk to the dude, V hacks into the cloud system and finds out that a group named the Tiger Claws keeps tabs on all the dolls at the establishment, and mines their data for their own purposes. It's quite literally 1984, but for everyone. Talking to Woodman doesn't reveal anything, but smacking him and hacking his computer does. The guy sent off Evelyn to a Ripper dock, and we have their address. Unfortunately, the chip is starting to take a toll on V. The good news is that Johnny is starting to figure out that both he and V's lives are intertwined now, and it might be advantageous for him to help us find Hellman and Evelyn.
Wanted me dead. Said so yourself.
Made it pretty clear since that I changed my mind. Want you to live now.
Asked you already. What the hell you want from me?
I got a get out of jail free card. I'd be a fucking fool not to take advantage.
Johnny also reveals that he still has a score that needs settling with Arasaka, and I had to question, what else does he want to do after detonating a frickin' nuke at their HQ? Johnny mentions Soul Killer, the program that was used on him, and the word Mikoshi. He elaborates that Arasaka can use Soul Killer, which is an AI to tap, fry, and pack away your psyche, mind, and soul. Which is freaking horrifying. Can you think of all the people that use the net in this world, then be plucked away like some piece of code? Then those constructs of the psyches, just like Johnny is on a relic chip, get sent to an Amazon Web Services Center, Arasaka Data Hub, that's called Mikoshi. Mikoshi is also where this AI is stored, and I'm starting to get where Johnny is coming from. So with the glum outlook on the state of things, we make our way to Fingers, the rip dock that was sent Evelyn. On our way there, I couldn't help to look up and marvel at the height of the city. The small details of Grav's ships rushing around far above the wild streets, it's just breathtaking.
Got a message for Fingers. Comes from the Tiger Claws.
And that message would be?
2 things. Urgent and confidential.
Meaning?
Meaning you got a choice.
Wow, our detective work and background actually affect how we got inside. Awesome. Judy is waiting for us at the door and is worried about her friend. After smooth talking the people in line, we confront Fingers, who is reluctant at first to give us any information on Evelyn. With some physical conviction, Fingers tells V and Judy that 2 thugs from a braindance studio took her, but that he didn't know their real names or which studio they were from. Only that they mentioned she'd be good for Moth and Death's Head. Even though Judy doesn't understand the references the thugs made, she knows where to look. The neighborhood we're in is like the red light district, and there's always underground versions of mainstream activities. Brain dances are not an exception. Using the database on some computer terminal I wouldn't touch if my arm was made out of Purell, V discovers Death's Head Moth Volume 49, an under-the-counter brain dance that is being sold by one shady fellow.
Looking for BDs. A particular kind.
Particular? You a badge?
This guy does not deserve to look this cool and sell contraband pornos. Anyways, we buy the brain dance from him and have Judy hook us in, and again, the brain dance fails to impress. Rather than floating around aimlessly waiting for the game to prompt the player where they should look, take a cinematic lens to it. We didn't need Witcher senses here if there is no ramifications to using it. Whether it was us conducting the brain dance or seeing it through a cutscene, the end result is the same. V discovers that the rabbit hole goes farther than we first thought. An electric corpse suit is hanging on the wall, and it seems like there are more prisoners since the air ducts are stifling the screams of another person. We deduce that because of cold coffee and a pizza that they're being held somewhere which has the two chains close to each other. Judy pulls her magic and we're off to Electric Corp. V sneaks into the complex and discovers a more complex network of harvesters than what we first saw in the beginning with Sandra Dorset. Finding these jails beneath a corporation with the words "Not Me" scrawled on the wall sent shivers down my spine. Even Johnny seemed affected. Well, sort of. And as we kept descending, it just got worse. All the way until the frickin' final basement level where there was a crematorium for bodies, and I'm sure the Corpo CEO loved getting a bit more energy from the deceased. Looking at the bodies strewn across the room and having the incinerator on is something I won't easily forget, and is horrifying and amazing environmental storytelling. Plus, killing these scavs with a silent pistol was even more satisfying after all of this, and they went down hard. We finally make it to Evelyn, and Jesus Christ, human trafficking is fucked up. They have her hooked up to some machine, and with Judy's help, we unlock her. Now, you do get the option to yank the cord before she says go, and I would love to know what happens because of that. Does it actually have a profound effect on anything? Regardless, we make our way out of the Electric Corp and flash forward in time to Johnny trying to convince V to take up smoking, as a way of getting the stench of the city out of his nostrils. And it just goes to show you, you'll die and become a construct before you quit nicotine. Back at Judy's house, Evelyn is sleeping and is not capable of talking, but Judy has taken a memory of Evelyn's that might lead us to our next lead. And again, we have a goddamn BD that literally doesn't do anything other than advance the plot and take up players' time. V and Judy go through the BD, seeing Evelyn meeting with an anonymous person in some church room discussing the heist for the relic chip. Detective V notices Vive markings, which are apparently related to voodoo, and wouldn't you know, there's a gang literally called the Voodoo Boys. I did not make this shit up. The two surmise that it was this mysterious woman or the Voodoo Boys that tried to fry Evelyn after the heist and take her to that prison, probably to take away all evidence of their involvement in the act. Which, man, that is truly scorched earth. Judy also has another BD that's short and only one layer, which, thanks CD, but I mention it because it has a cool detail. The Voodoo Boys speak Creole, which is an advanced form of something called a pidgin, a simplified language formed by two distinctive languages. For Creole, it's French and West African languages being intertwined by the slave trade in the Caribbean and developing its own structures, nouns, adjectives, etc. until it's a distinct language of its own. The cool detail is not them speaking Creole, but that the translator that has detected and translated every other language we've heard from Spanish, Japanese, or Russian does not detect Creole off the bat. I assume this meant that either Creole is not spoken enough or has become its own code in a way. The conversation we eavesdrop on is about Johnny Silverhand leading the Voodoo Boys to someone named Alt, and we fill Judy in on what the relic actually is. V questions Johnny about Alt, and he's pretty secretive of her for some reason, but does say that finding her is now our biggest priority.
These people, what could they want from Alt?
How the hell should I know?
Got no notion whatsoever?
One way or another, everything leads back to that Netrunner. Finding her's our biggest priority. If she knows as much as I think she knows about the chip, she can help us out.
Thought you said nothing could help us.
Nah, just find us that Juju Wirehead, okay?
Problem is, not Judy, Johnny, or V know how to get into contact with the Voodoo Boys, and they seem like a pretty close-knit crowd. But as soon as we leave the apartment, we get the objective, call Mr. Hands. Now, you might have noticed how I haven't talked about some of the side characters, and there's a reason for that. One, they didn't play a huge part in my playthrough. Most made Preston Garvey look like a quiet monk. Mr. Hands had contacted V once before, but literally at the beginning of the game. So when V just thinks to call him, even if we didn't have any interactions other than pleasantries, I was a bit surprised. V asked Mr. Hands if he could swing us a meeting with whoever the leader of the Voodoo Boys is, and we're given a name. Brigitte. Yet there is a caveat. We have to wait for Mr. Hand's call, that I don't think will ever come until we explore the other lead Takamura gave us, Anders Hellman. In this brief second, I do want to talk about the upgrade system for your body, which I thought was great. I said that this game has a great half of what makes a good RPG, and it really does. Speccing out V the way you want to play them is fantastic and really made selling guns and making eddies a priority for me. The way the augments work with your perk system and attribute points felt tangible in every aspect of gameplay. Getting faster movement, better optics, stronger armor is rewarding and a great aspect to the game. Mr. Hands isn't calling and I'm getting antsy, so we do another quest. This time to speak to Rogue in the afterlife and see if she can help us locate Mr. Hellman. I thought it was really cool how Johnny, someone that knew Rogue personally, gives V the right things to say to get her to trust us.
Don't see that often. Determination like yours. Must really need this guy.
Matter of life and death.
Haven't heard that for a while either.
And all the rumors or legends of Rogue seem to be true, since she gets the details on Anders almost immediately. Looks like Anders defected to a rival corporation and grabbing him will not be a walk in the park. Because Anders is incognito in the new corporation, they have to send him around in cargo holds, not listing his name, only saying there's a VIP member, which works in our favor. These AV ships, as Rogue calls them, travel to and from Night City, and she thinks she's flagged the one that he'll be in. The easy part is done. Now for heist number 2. We can't commandeer the ship inside Night City without drawing every last NCPD unit against us. So Rogue has another plan. There's a dead zone in the desert before the NCPD jurisdiction begins, and if we can down the AV there, we might have a chance at nabbing the scientist. Rogue, as the great fixer she is, suggests a nomad that can help, Panam. But on the last job Panam pulled, shit went south and Rogue is still owed money. Rogue then informs V that she knows where the cargo Panam lost is and is using us two as pawns in her scheme, which, okay, Rogue knows how to play the biz. As we leave Rogue's booth, V again has a chip malfunction and I'm starting to worry that we're running out of time. V calls Panam and tells her he knows where to find the lost merchandise from Panam's last job and offers to help her take it back. So we take our first trip to the desert.
So what is it you want?
Actually, wanted to talk about what you want.
Is that so?
The merch you lost, and your ride. You want him back? Let's talk.
That's so.
I very much like Panam's character. You could even say I started to love her throughout the trials and tribulations, but we're not there just yet. For now, we try to make the deal. We help her get back the lost stuff, and in return, she helps us down the AV in the turf she knows best. V and Panam get into the car, and while on the drive, she explains her situation, that she is part of a nomad group, but has sort of left for her own reasons. Then the partner double-crossed her, and Rogue made her look like a fool. The vistas in this drive were breathtaking as well, and it made me realize how claustrophobic Night City was. Even with the sandstorm in full force, not having buildings towering over us was a nice change. The two make it to Panam's nomad tribe and search for help to take back the merchandise from the Wraith Gang. We're greeted by Scorpion and Mitch, who seem to be happy to see her despite Panam fearing the worst. The player gets more insight onto why Panam has distanced herself from the tribe. Saul, their leader, and her had some falling out, but it seems like the others are still on her side. Unfortunately, Mitch and Scorpion have their marching orders and seem to take the Nomad family thing to heart, saying no to helping us in the eventual fight.
Not this time. We're needed here.
Fuck. I don't believe this. So you'll stay put because Saul told you to. You couldn't care less about me.
Panam.
This isn't about Saul. It's about the clan. You know that.
Panam grabs a cool looking sniper rifle and we head to grab her car. This next conversation highlights what's wrong with V as a character. You don't learn anything about them and they don't say anything about what's transpired over the last 12 hours of gameplay. Panam asks V if he has anyone close in his life. Instead of talking about V's past, instead of talking about Jackie or even mentioning that character or honestly Mama Wells or Misty or hell, anyone in Atlanta, we get zilch.
Still treated you like you're one of them. They care about you.
Mm-hmm. Do you have anyone you would call close?
Not right now, no. Could just be a matter of time, though.
Okay.
It omits so much of the emotions I experienced as the character. Instead, V makes a poor attempt at flirting, and I'm left in the dust on why V's character is like this. Is it the blank canvas sort of thing? And again, you can get more background about Mitch and Scorpion than you do V. It's awesome information too. The two were veterans and they are armed with some serious combat implants. I also thought the name Panzer Boys was interesting, since the Panzer was a German tank, and it makes the player question the history of the world. Pan Am alludes more to her relationship with Saul, saying that Saul's a coward and he'll be the end of the clan. I think Nomads are pretty interesting as a faction, and I'm excited to see where they go.
The reason we came to California was because he promised change for the Aldecaldos. He claimed we would turn over a new leaf. But you saw it. We got a handful of tents on a heap of sand. A hell of a promised land. I wanted something different. Better. Saul's a damned coward. He'll be the end of the clan, I'm certain.
Once we enter the town, there is more Witcher senses, and again, if what you scanned in a limited time frame had any bearing on what happened next, I wouldn't feel like it was a time sink. With the ambush for the car set, we wait for nighttime and get this awesome spectacle as Raffin and his gang roll in. With some heads popped, V successfully gets Pan Am's car, and I have to mention the car interiors are out of this world. Every detail is out of this world, and I don't think I've seen another open world game with this amount of complexity in its objects. So with the car and Pan Am's hot head, we're going straight to the gang's hideout for the merchandise. Another car ride filled with exposition, but I'm here for it. At least we get to know a lot more about Pan Am.
I placed my trust in him. He was the first person I worked with after leaving the Aldecaldos, after I came to Night City. And I granted him my trust.
I was a little confused gameplay-wise since we drive the car literally into combat, and for the less inclined player, I don't know how you would stealth this. With the gang members dead by our hands, Pan Am calls up Rogue, and I really enjoyed this interaction. You're seeing a character that was at the brink with her clan, and losing her reputation after the botched gig, now talk to Rogue, the best fixer in Night City, in a commanding way.
Nash is dead. One shit cleaned. Happy?
And the 6th Street merch?
Nash can't deliver it anymore. But if you ask nicely, I might be able to help you.
We've gotten more development from Pan Am than V has shown. Pan Am sells the merchandise off, and I've said merchandise so many times in the last paragraphs I can't help but think about Spaceballs. She's earned her reputation back, and the fact that the runner gives her a tip was a nice touch. Grabbing a drink with Pan Am afterwards was a nice relaxation moment, and she honestly cares about the people around her, asking the bartender how he's doing and being genuine with V. I did have to laugh that she chugs the beer, but it's been a long day's work.
Thanks for everything, partner.
V again tries to flirt, but I think we've missed our chance tonight.
Good night.
We wake up and head over to Pan Am, who explains we've been screaming in our sleep, which she was accustomed to when Mitch and Scorpion came back from the war. Wow, I thought maybe we could get deeper into why V was screaming or how he was feeling after all of this. Nope, yellow dialogue option. Anyways, I don't know if there's a long German word for planning a heist, but I love planning heists in any media. Pan Am tells us that these AVs that Hellman will be in are almost fortresses, meaning no caliber rifle will penetrate the armor. The alternative is using an EMP, and I was on board. V and Pan Am's relationship felt like it was building organically, and to be honest, from the player's perspective, Night City was like a dream after spending time in the Outback. And that dream notion is amplified by seeing the city in the distance, something that comes back in the late game. We get a Chekhov's turret tutorial where V learns how to press left mouse button again, but I did appreciate the unique UI. I was wondering where the two would get an EMP, but Pan Am had thought of everything, and the two approached this power plant that I gawked at. Like, come on folks, this is beautiful. We discuss the plan of overloading the plant when the AV is flying over, and V makes a reference to Spinal Tap, which I guess it's canonical that Rob Reiner is part of this universe too.
Hoping that's not too complicated. Is it?
It shouldn't be. You just turn everything up as far as it'll go.
Crank it up to 11. Got it.
With a quick flash forward, we start the mission. These sequences are probably some of the best choreographed moments in my gaming career. I don't even know how to explain how immersive this was, and you truly have to play the game to feel it. I can only do so much by describing it.
I'll deal with them.
Down quick before they hit us! Good enough.
Is that all of them?
Mm-hmm. Provided we hurry.
V overheats the terminals and we have our EMP ready. I thought it was interesting that this was the first time Johnny seemed scared, telling V to get the hell out of there for the chip's sake.
V, get the fuck out before something happens to the chip.
Thanks for the tip. You know, I was just about to set up a picnic. Maybe lay out, work on my base tan.
Watch out. The next one might...
Johnny? Johnny.
Johnny Silverhand hadn't run away from anything up until this point, so maybe it was self-preservation that got to him. Pan Am drives us to a safe distance, and for a moment of calm, what a view. Plus we have a detonator in our hand, which felt powerful. We do get a bit of a scare that the transponder isn't working. Even when it does pop, the AV systems are still functional somehow, so Pan Am takes it into her own hands. Damn, I'm enamored.
Give me a moment.
Pan Am, what are you doing?
That's how you do it!
He's losing altitude.
We got the bastard.
Let's go.
The AV getting rocketed, the music, and then the comms not working when Mitch and Scorpion are in the area tracking the ship was building up tension in such a fantastic way that I was baffled that this was a side mission. The level of polish and commitment to this narrative is something every developer should strive for. Mitch and Scorpion don't know what's going on with the AV, or that it might be guarded by heavy corpo security. The EMP is screwed with our comms, and we're racing to get to the downed AV before they do, or at least try to warn them. All hell is starting to let loose, and it's not helped by our turret having a malfunction. Pan Am tries to fix it, but as she finishes, a drone bullet catches her in the stomach. I audibly screamed no at this point, and my mind raced to the last time V was in a car with a wounded friend. But V just says, "Are you okay?" and has no internal dialogue or thought of, "Oh shit, not again." Don't we have Johnny literally inside our psyche that V could have these reflective thoughts or at least emotional outbursts other than angry? I mean, hell, Jackie died only a couple of weeks ago, and it seems V is just forgotten.
Well, one less thing to worry about.
Pan Am, you okay?
Fucking ricochet.
Think you can manage?
Sure. I'll live.
The gameplay does override my writer's brain, and taking control of the UAV was pretty neat. Also, Pan Am's delivery, seeing the crash site, and then Mitch being held at gunpoint is what I'm trying to convey I would have liked to seen from our main lead. But I digress.
No. Mitch! He's alive! They have them!
V takes out the robotic guards with a vengeance, and we hack into the AV. Thank God I had Deadeye unlocked. Mitch is saved, but tells us that Scorpion was killed and Hellman was taken west by the rest of the Corpo guards. Pan Am, of course, is distraught by this, and what does V say? Well, he's back in the bar stool for his response.
Scorpion, the rest. I'm sorry we didn't get here sooner.
They were good people. Great people. They didn't have to die here.
This next sequence following the car tracks was neat, and seeing the various rundown places in the desert had some function in the past was a good world building moment. It's talked about in passing how the towns of the desert were eroded and uncared for. And then you fight through this derelict airport, which shows that people wanted to travel here at some point. Now it's a ghost town. The two finally track down Hellman and his security squad, and after making short work of the Corpo unit, we finally meet our man. Knocking Hellman out, Johnny tells us to call Takamura, and we set up a meeting spot. Bringing Hellman's knocked out body towards the exit, I heard cars revving and expected another fight, but this was icing on the cake. The Nomads really felt like a faction, not just some ragtag group of nobodies. We also meet the leader of the Aldecados, Saul, and he and Pan Am and V have a pretty serious discussion about the events that just took place.
I heard Mitch is alive thanks to you.
Thanks to V and Pan Am. They both saved my ass.
I just hope he was worth it.
Saul, I tried to raise Scorpion, but he... Maybe I could help out somehow?
I think you've helped enough.
I tried to stop him. Sure, just turn around now. Let it all be damned. You're good at that, aren't you?
Look, Saul, it really wasn't Panam's fault.
Careful. You and me are not buddy-buddy. Besides, nobody's blamed anyone for anything yet.
Sure, right.
Panam was just helping me. It was my doing. My fault that AV got hit. Without me, Scorpion and his people wouldn't have gone out to grab it.
This wasn't just surface level narrative, it had been building seamlessly throughout these last missions, and I was here for it. The fact that Panam still thinks she is cast out by the clan is even more from her own projection than it is the group itself. She wants to do right by them and is learning that leaders have more responsibility than is let on, with ramifications to boot. And again, even with having to Delta out of there, V doesn't even have one goddamn line about how he knows what it feels to lose a friend. Like, are you kidding me? Yet we do have the relic chip still eating away at our psyche, and Hellman is snoozing as we get back to the motel. V starts the interrogation and Hellman divulges some key information. One, that we don't have the on-market relic chip, but an experimental one. And two, the chip was not designed to be put in a living body, but a new host. Immediately, I was like, damn, that's not good, and does support the idea that when V got shot in the head by Dex, the chip activated because it thought it was in a new host body, devoid of life. Of course, Hellman takes the scientific, questionably moral line of the project is now a success because we are living, and we agree to let Hellman examine us. But V does not get good news.
Unbelievable. It looks like...
Can't believe this suit's the one who's gonna help us.
Oh, fuck.
What? What is it?
What a pity I won't be able to examine it fully.
Yeah, real shame. You could have been his guinea pig too.
Tell me how to get rid of it.
I'm afraid I have bad news. Your neural network has completely deteriorated. It can no longer function independently of the chip. The only thing I could do...
Woohoo, it's bargaining time.
...is to give you information on a good clinic in Sweden.
The chip has completely changed our neural network. There is no independence between us and Johnny, more like a symbiosis that will eventually take us over. To put it in a short version, we're terminal, and there is nothing V can do. This plot point is fantastic and really resonated with me for a lot of real-world experiences with loved ones or anyone that deals with a terminal illness. Hellman also asks us how it feels to have a split personality and reveals another crazy twist that reshaped how I viewed our actions throughout the game. Yes, V was pretty gung-ho with Jackie at the beginning, but ever since we implanted the chip, we've gotten a bit rambunctious, sort of like how Johnny acts. Hellman is trying to convince V that the takeover has already started, and that even though we're conscious in the here and now, that doesn't mean Johnny hasn't taken over at certain points. Even Johnny says it might be fun for him to take us on a joyride, and folks, if you were told you're going to die or even worse, your psyche get erased, how would you react? V does get the blueprints from Hellman, who tells us that someone else could look at them, but if the dude that made the chip isn't certain separation could happen, I don't know what Victor will be able to do. But before we can think of that, Takamura walks in and we hand Anders off to him. The relic malfunctions are getting worse, and I didn't realize my ick from this game would be throwing up in first person. It was just nasty. V and Johnny have a good conversation about who V is as a person and what Johnny truly wants. We still don't know the full story about why Johnny planted the bomb in Arasaka, and when questioned on why he needs to have an enemy at all times, we get his interesting response.
Ideally a crazy powerful one to feed your ego, and they gotta be practically unbeatable to justify a suicide run.
Huh. You're funny.
Actually, that's what I am. That kind of nemesis. I'll decide your fate, and then fuck all you can do.
Okay, I'll tell you why I want to destroy Arasaka, but I'll only tell you once. Want to hear it?
All right.
I saw a corpse strip farmers of water, and eventually of land. Saw them transform Night City into a machine fueled by people's crushed spirits, broken dreams, and emptied pockets. Corps have long controlled our lives, taken lots, and now they're after our souls. V, I've declared war not because capitalism's a thorn in my side or out of nostalgia for an America gone by. This war's a people's war against a system that spiraled out of our control. It's a war against the fucking forces of entropy. Understand? Do whatever it takes to stop them, defeat them, gut them. If I gotta kill, I'll kill. If I need your body, I'll fucking take it.
Time passes and V eventually gets called back by Mr. Hands, who says that the Voodoo Boys will only see us if we do a job for them, and I was ready. I did want to pay off our debt to Victor quickly. Seeing Misty again was nice, and we do get another call from Takamura about meeting him and an associate that might be able to help clear our name and bring Yorinobu to justice. I enjoyed from a narrative aspect the diverging routes. You could go either way, to Takamura for the meeting or try to get an audience with Madame Brigitte and the Voodoo Boys. Regardless of your choice, which you go to first, it didn't make a difference. I'm not saying I want a straight linearity in the storytelling, but I'm saying that whatever you do during these missions, what you accomplish, how you go about them, has no effect on how the character is perceived, dialogue options, or varied conclusions. No one mentions taking on the Maelstrom Boys, downing the AV, the heist, or whatever happened to Dex, and even if you ask, how would they know? Maybe V should speak up in conversations and have a bit more gall to prop himself up. Instead, it's like V lives in a quest bubble. Once that quest is done, he just forgets about it. We'll see how that changes at the end of the game, but for now it started to feel like we were just going from mission to mission without affecting the world itself, or affecting our character. I really appreciate if you would tell me what you think of that notion. V makes contact with the Voodoo Boys that tell us to meet at a church, and my god are the facial animations amazing. I don't know if they mocapped all the citizens or some very overworked team designed all of them, but the depth to each individual is awe-inspiring. The Voodoo Boys are very secretive, so we get shipped around to various people as we ask for Placide. I liked seeing the community that's in Pacifica. It made another part of the world feel real and lived in. Plus the small lines about how poultry is outlawed was a neat world-building moment.
You know, I heard a few things about you. The Voodoo Boys. Best runners in town. At least that's what they say. Though nobody really knows what you do on the net.
This is good.
I mean, bleeding edge black soft, corporate data heists, waging war on Netwatch. But no one mentions chickens.
V and Placide meet and talk about what the Voodoo Boys organization vaguely does. There's some elite hacking squad that takes on Netwatch. Remember the organization Yorinobu was going to sell the chip to? That's them. Placide walks us through the open air market, and as I looked at the skyline, this armed helicopter is blasting apart one of the skyscrapers. I don't know why, but I was here for it. It's these moments of feeling like you're in the world that distinguish Cyberpunk from other open world games or even linear campaigns. Whether V and player choice have an effect on the world or not, there was never a dull moment. V and Placide finally get to their base and he jacks us into their system, doing a full diagnostic of our parts and even discovering the relic chip, even though Placide doesn't understand what it is. We do see someone within the room that needs help, but Placide shoos the messenger away and continues giving V the details on what the job entails. In a comedic kind of way, Placide also links into our head or network, which Johnny has a funny retort about not another voice in our head, and yeah, it's like we're hosting a party. So what is even the job? Well, Placide isn't the most forthcoming, and he says to look for a car, so we oblige. V talks to Placide's boys outside the abandoned mall where the car might be, and they tell us there are a bunch of baddies within, but it shouldn't be a problem for us. I know we were told to go in stealthily, but my silenced pistol was yearning for shooting, and with perks coming fast and often, V was starting to become somewhat unstoppable. Not only was this a great area to fight through with different levels and lots of enemies, I could not get over the sheer amount of detail on display. I can't believe I'm about to make this comparison, but the last time I felt this enthralled by a mall was in Escape from Tarkov at Interchange. If you know me and have watched my previous videos, I truly love interior level design and what makes an environment work in video games. Cyberpunk does that for every interior environment we've been in, and it's an open world game. How they pulled this off, well, maybe it took them an extra 5 years, is still an achievement and is less talked about than other aspects of the game, like gameplay. V finds the car, but of course the mission isn't so straightforward. The car was just a way to find someone, a Netwatch runner that's been going after the Voodoos. We have the location, but before we can reach them, we get our first boss fight, and I'm glad to say there are still glitches in this game. Glad is a weird word to use, but I use it because it reminded me of where the game was 5 years ago, and how much has advanced since then. Even the crazy ragdoll at the end gave me a good chuckle, not, oh, this breaks my immersion. With the boss dealt with, we find our way to the Netwatch runner and confront him. Again, we get our street kid backstory dialogue option that literally leads to nowhere and still have the same 2 options to conclude. It's the illusion of choice every time. Even worse, it's the illusion of the player's choice from all the way in the beginning of the game, making it a facade. The Netwatch agent does tell V that the Voodoo Boys are using him and are an insular gang, but I think we already knew that. Hell, apart from the Nomads, everyone uses V. We don't trust the agent, but also get double-crossed by the Voodoo Boys after linking in with the Netwatch dude, but I think the chip saved us again, since V wakes up with Johnny inquisitively looking at us with somewhat of a scare.
Hey V, you alright?
Oh, what happened?
The net pig was right. Voodoos were blowing smoke. Soon as you gave them access to the Netwatch web, they roasted all the agents. And you.
Maybe he just wants the body to be intact for the takeover. So the Voodoo Boys not only fried every Netwatch agent that was connected to that network, but they also tried to fry us. It makes walking out of the mall and seeing Placide's henchmen's reactions even sweeter. They also give us a ride. Returning to the Voodoo Boys base, Placide is flummoxed that we've survived, but Brigitte is there to step in.
Sorti konya, fait tout moun sorti.
You must be Brigitte. Hard woman to find.
You have something for me.
You know about the biochip, don't you?
Yes, and we must check its condition.
V explains the whole shaboodle to Brigitte about the chip, the circumstances he's in, and surprisingly she agrees to help. But there is a catch. Brigitte takes us down through their church and into an abandoned maglev tunnel, which, great visual. The plan is set in motion. Brigitte will send us into cyberspace in order for us to figure out the construct, but with the caveat of them needing something from Johnny, and that is Alt Cunningham. This was interesting since I thought Johnny referenced Alt was an AI, not an actual person, so I was ready to deep dive into the unknown. Brigitte explains that she'll need a part of Johnny's construct to contact Alt, who is beyond this black wall of net space or something. To be honest, I was a bit lost at first, but the visuals do a good job at showing what she's talking about. First, we need to find the piece of information from Johnny's construct that gives us perspective on Alt, something we could use to lure her out, if there's any human left at all. Pacing be damned, this was awesome, and going deeper into what it means to be human within a different plane of existence perked up my interest tenfold. Just like how I was enamored by the puppet master in Ghost in a Shell. We become Johnny within the memory and another night rocking, where we finally meet Alt.
Is it the concert or Carrie?
Said you weren't coming tonight. Not if I can help it.
Changed my mind, lover. Look at you, all hot and bothered.
And I liked it when it was just cards that took over the screen in Witcher 1. Sorry folks, play the game if you want to see the dirty details. After a pretty vivid sex scene, we see that Johnny and Alt had a very turbulent relationship bordering on abusive. Then stepping outside for a smoke, they get Batman origin storied. Alt gets taken and Johnny gets 2 blades to the stomach. Johnny is saved by some guy named Thompson and wakes up in a Ripper Doc's lab. The two talk about the mugging and both surmise that the tech these quote-unquote thugs had was not found in a dumpster, but were given by Arasaka. I guess all of Johnny's talk about taking down the biggest corpo in the world got him on their bad list. But Thompson has a different view, saying Alt is one of the most successful netrunners of the time and way above anyone else, meaning that the hit wasn't for Johnny but for Alt. Even crazier is that Thompson, who is some reporter or journalist, tells Johnny that Alt was the one who wrote Soul Killer, the program that imprisoned Johnny's psyche and the one Arasaka uses to steal people's souls. Johnny then goes to Rogue, which was awesome to see in the past, and I liked how we were getting more of Johnny's backstory at this moment. It felt organic, and I kind of understood why he didn't say any of this to V. Would we have even believed him or worked with him if we knew? Also, is that the dude that sold us the porno? We convince Rogue and this dude to take on the job, but Arasaka is on Johnny's tail and we have to fight through a ton of enemies. Johnny's pistol is probably the best weapon in the game until we get the sweet Halo sniper rifle, but I don't think I've had this much fun with a pistol since getting a quad kill as McCree in Overwatch 1. The gang gets away and Johnny explains that we need to go into Arasaka and get Alt out of there. The way they figure out how to distract Arasaka fits so well that I'm pretty sure the writer's room popped champagne after figuring it out.
Yep. Distract him. Make some noise.
Set up right under Arasaka's windows and crank it loud. Blast the panes out. It'll be a gig to remember.
The impromptu concert sets up outside Arasaka headquarters, and of course the security forces are going to disperse the crowd, which gives Johnny and the crew enough time to slip in. Another neat detail is that Thompson, the journalist, is recording all of this. It goes back to reputation and what you make out of your life. In this society, doing brash or even life-threatening feats seems to be the go-to. The crew fights their way through more Arasaka scum, and we have a small boss fight with Akira. Yeah, if you haven't watched that film yet and like Cyberpunk, Deus Ex, or any of that, please do so. It's going to blow your frickin' mind. Finally, we get to Alt, and Johnny is not one to mince words. This and one more moment later on, I again audibly shouted, "Holy shit."
Project of a lifetime. Get out of my way.
Because of how brutal and intense the actions on screen were. Sadly, it seems like we're too late and Alt has passed away, and that ends the flashback. Just wow, it gives Johnny's character so much more depth that I wasn't expecting. But I really was expecting V's ability to connect with him now that we've seen Johnny's tragedy, and maybe it would spur something within V, like understanding where Johnny's coming from. But nope, you just ask about the journalist Johnny punches and then he goes, "I never saw him again." Wow, great dead end. V does ask the question I was just thinking of though, how is Alt, who died in the chair, going to help us now? And Johnny says that she isn't dead but hid herself in cyberspace. Even sadder is that Johnny confesses that Alt had come to him after this debacle and told him not to search for her because too many people had died on her behalf.
When'd you find out?
When she made contact a little later.
And? What'd she say?
That she was a captive in the Arasaka subnet. But they couldn't hurt her. And she told me not to come looking for her.
What? Why?
This was powerful in so many ways and stayed with me until the end of the game. At what point do the ends justify the means? At what point do you ask yourself, is what I'm doing worth it, and who is it worth it to? Johnny knows that Alt is beyond the wall of cyberspace, and Brigitte knows the way. With Johnny's engram with us, maybe that would be enough to convince her to help our relic problem. We get pulled out of the engram, and it was like 1 second had passed for Brigitte, which was a neat touch. Again, the way the visualization of cyberspace was presented to us was really well done and existentially worrisome. What would it be like to exist on this plane of existence? Is it actually living? Are you actually yourself or a copy of a copy? The deeper we went down the rabbit hole, the more I appreciated the life that I have now, since at this point I felt like this world was a purgatory of some sorts. Did you have that feeling? Reaching the wall and going through was also a wow moment, and then meeting Alt gave me goosebumps.
Johnny, you cannot remain here. Alt Cunningham.
Alt? What's going on?
We will talk here.
Relax. Let me handle this.
Alt takes us within the engram to talk to us and Johnny pleads with the super AI to save our life, which damn, we've come a long way from the start. We try to convince Alt that because she was the one that created Soul Killer that she should be the one to end it, or at least take it out of our head, but we get this bombshell that gave me even more goosebumps.
It is not. The Alt Cunningham you strove to save in Arasaka Tower no longer exists. This should be obvious to you, as you were responsible for her death.
Your death wasn't Johnny's fault.
How could you know?
Seen you in his memories. It was an accident.
What you saw was his subjective view of what happened. A warped account of events he locked away in his subconscious and replayed time and again.
Not just the fact that this version of Alt distinguishes herself from the Alt from the real world, she also questions the memory we just witnessed, saying it's a subjective view on what happened, which really makes you think about individuals having experiences but seeing them in different ways. There is a study, I forget the name, on a group of 10 strangers all on the same street. 2 men walk across the road with a mirror and a car swerves to avoid them. The mirror shatters. Those 10 witnesses, depending on where they were in time, space, and as individuals themselves, might recount the event 10 different ways. How could we know what is real and what's not, if we're real or what's not, when those memories are coded, morphed, maybe even created? AI Alt tells the two that she won't be able to help us because she needs more powerful technology, and that Arasaka, for the last 50 years, has developed Mikoshi independently of any of Alt's previous models. But there is a catch. There's always a catch. Alt explains that if she were to gain access into Mikoshi, that she would be able to make an engram of V and copy it, then disentangle our neural network from Johnny's. And she spells it out for us. We will die. Our consciousness will only be recorded and the rest will cease to exist. Jesus Christ, that's freaking dark. If it wasn't for the narrative material being so out of this world good and the dark sci-fi I live for, I would be throwing my freaking computer at V to get any emotional response from the fact that he, the person, is dying, regardless of whether the chip is removed or not. The very thing we've been trying to do for the whole game just crumbled underneath, an absolute jack shit from V. No dialogue options, no internal thoughts, nothing. And it's not a time thing, since we know what happens in this plane of existence only takes seconds in real time.
Right, so we got a plan.
Even as we leave the chapel and get the worst malfunction yet, V says, "I don't know what's going on." Brother, you literally were told what was going on, and it's Johnny who has the better dialogue, the better backstory. Hell, I would have been fine with switching over to Johnny for the rest of the frickin' game.
Do I gotta remind you how this came about?
Let's not get wound up. You're not yourself.
Don't know what's happening to me.
The old V's gonna be a faded memory soon.
Got no idea where I'm going. Be a living legend. That's all I wanted. Feels like I'm barely surviving. Oh, motherfucker.
Test of a person's true value? Death. Facing it. Staring it down. You still got a chance to be somebody.
Yeah, maybe.
Johnny also has this great dialogue about what it felt like to die, but did the engram really die, or did the real Johnny die and the copy experience the 50 years of blackness or time standing still? Now the player had one more path to follow, meeting Takamura and his associate down in Japantown. But you wouldn't know V just learned that he's either going to die or be copied and die. Nope, no dialogue, no change in tone, no deeper thinking on how to approach things. If they had said this is an open world adventure game with RPG aspects, I wouldn't be this pedantic to the point of you probably going, I get it, but it's my thesis and the hill I'll presumably die on. But Cyberpunk touts itself as an RPG with choices and player agency, yet never delivers on that until the ending. You can never fail before. Your actions don't affect how people view you, and all within the illusion of your choices matter on an external level, like advertising of the game itself. And yet again, the game's visual presentation and actual story elevate it past my gripe. and this next scene really solidified that Cyberpunk is a true piece of art. Meeting Takamura by the docks, his associate Oda joins us, and V tells him of what we saw back in the hotel. Oda doesn't believe us, and even with Takamura pleading with him to listen, it seems like it falls on deaf ears. Oda mentions a parade that is coming to the city to celebrate the Emperor's life, but he will not help us get an audience with the matriarch of the family, Yorinobu's sister, Hanako. As Oda leaves, I heard a ship horn blasting, and as I turned around, one of the floats for the eventual parade passed by. With the mist rolling in and then seeing these barges slowly make their way to set up for the celebrations, I had to take a step back and just look. Marvel and look. These are moments that make the video game medium my favorite. It's tangible, it's artistic, it's immersive. Takamura hasn't lost all hope and devises a plan to sneak to Hanako and tell her of our story. And maybe, just maybe, she will enact the revenge Takamura wants. The two get the detailed map of the area from another fixer that is part of the side missions detailing the route the parade will take, security measures, and the whole 9 yards. And bam! We get a call from Mama Wells. I kid you not, I literally thought it was glitched since when I first played the game 5 years ago, I was fairly certain that she calls in the earlier portion of the game. But this felt more compelling after all we had been through, and I had been railing on V for forgetting Jackie, so I was not going to miss his ofrenda. Mama Wells asked V how he's doing.
I'm good, thanks.
Jesus, V. I did find it important to go through Jackie's stuff from the garage, and seeing Misty, who admits to coming here often, was a solemn moment. I didn't really understand why Mama Wells disliked Misty, but I thought it was good that she tag along, since she might have some insights on what items might be offered in Jackie's honor. These side characters turn out to be more complex and character-driven than our lead.
Basketball signed by Dante Gonzalez.
He was from Haywood, too. Everyone here shot hoops. Dante ran circles around him. I think he might have been the first kid to ditch the Valentinos.
Like Jackie.
Mm-hmm. They both wanted more out of life.
The presentation for Jackie's ofrenda was well done, and hearing the different people speak on Jackie's life and presence meant a lot. It was a moving juxtaposition to how life has been treated so far in this world, and a moment of calm before the storm. What does V have to say about Jackie? Well, you do get to choose your lines in a way, but again, it's like nothing has happened between the time we crack our nose at the bar 10 feet from us and now.
Best friend you could ask for. Loyal to a fault. Once he set his mind to something, he was ready to die to achieve it. He once told me, bro there, the one thing we can't do is be afraid of others. Motherfucker!
We set down Jackie's basketball, and I guess I'll set this down too. After doing a couple of side gigs and finding a gun that made me think of Rick and Morty, V gets a call from Takamura. I was excited to get this going since it felt like the story was coming to a bang. The parade, Alt, or Psyche running out of time, it had to culminate somehow. Takamura has done a couple of things before we get there. One, he's received some sort of hack for the security during the parade. 2, he has uncovered where the floats are being stationed, which we'll need to infiltrate in order to upload part of the virus. With some bad food ingested, V and Takamura initiate the heist. No wait, it's not a heist, it's a plant. Another spectacle that blew me away as the rain poured in. I don't even care if it was scripted. I was living for the presentation at this point. Infiltrating the compound was interesting and made you use all of your skills at your disposal. With the hack installed on the float, V makes his way out of Dodge and are told that we should lay low until the parade starts. This gives us some more time to help out Pan Am, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't enamored by her character, and the story they told with her. She sounds changed after what we've experienced. The interactions are much more flirtatious in a good PG way, cracking innocent jokes at V's expense, and she references things they've done. What a concept.
Careful, or I'll start believing that. You won't be able to get rid of me.
I'll survive, I'm sure.
Whatever goodwill you might feel, I'm sure you won't turn down one of the best sniper rifles on the West Coast.
Saul has been captured and Pan Am asks us for help in rescuing him. It goes to show that even though she doesn't see eye to eye with Saul, she does keep the core tenets of the Nomads alive. Saving Saul is your normal execute bad guys, dip in and get out, so I'm going to fast forward to when we get back in the car. A storm is coming in and the three need to lay low until it passes, which gives us a great conversation and insight more into these two characters. Saul knows that nomad life is wearing down their clan and he wants to strike a deal with a corp that might save the lives of his people, but turn their back on the very thing that made them a clan in the first place. Panam is a young leader and might not see the full picture yet, and refuses to even think of compromise or capitulation.
If you'd like to come back, everyone will be waiting, arms open wide. But there will have to be changes. No more jumping to the front of the line.
And so it begins.
You know what's coming. Bigger fucking problems. Maybe a war. We can't hope to handle the Raffins alone.
So you would sell us out to Biotechnica? Vade, tell him it's a damn rotten idea.
They do end it on a new vocabulary word for storm that comes from North Africa. Aboobs.
Aboobs.
Yeah, that might not have set the mood right. V again unsuccessfully tries to hook up with Panam and she falls asleep before we can turn back the clock. But you learn from your mistakes, and I was glad that the player could as well. I was pretty invested in this love story at this point, and even a kiss did it for me. Sometimes the small gestures mean more.
This. Take care of yourself.
You too, Panam.
Circumstances were different, I'd say saddle up and ride after her. But here and now, just look. Damn hard to catch a girl like that.
Panam leaves and the parade is about to begin. Takamura gives us another detailed explanation of what we're supposed to be doing while he tries to get on the float. It's a great setup and one that I don't think I've seen bested by other games. Like Folks, this game will age in a way that most dream of. There is fidelity and there is artistic style. It's not hyper-realistic, but it echoes the real world. Looking at the floats, the crowd around watching, and the objectives we've had, I had to wipe a couple of tears from my eyes. It's a privilege to play this game and experience it regardless of my argument against those three major flaws. This is true art, and it belongs in a museum. Murdering Arasaka snipers and sneaking around security had an extra epicness to it from the environment. And getting to the Netrunner working the gig was surprisingly easy. But all things don't end up that way, and as we disconnect the runner from the floats, Oda, Takamura's associate, finds us. Again, I don't know how you fight this guy without quick dash or any boss for that matter. Maybe you just zap them with your optics. But the way I was playing, I had a great time dodging him and countering his attacks. Then to find him when he scurries away to heal up, it's nothing revolutionary, but I had fun. We eventually defeat Oda and Takamura makes it to the float and reaches Hanako. Unfortunately, she charges him and he freaking tasers her. Yeah, the plan is not going super well.
Shit!
He shot her.
Well, now we're really fucked.
Takamura tells us which shady motel to go to and that we need to knock 4 times. Now get this, folks. This is probably the single biggest consequential action the player has had all game. I kid you not, and it took me by surprise. You would think after every option we've gotten so far, you aren't able to fail, that this is where they go. Yeah, you can choose not to knock 4 times and instead twice or 3 times. The consequence is that I got blown up and I was in shock since I was pressing the use key from muscle memory, not thinking there would be some explosion or I would have to reload the game. Maybe if anything your character did beforehand had this type of ramification, I wouldn't be perplexed, but why here? Why now? What are the rules? So we successfully knock 4 times and meet up with the 2. Hanako says she doesn't believe such nonsense that her brother would kill their father, and this confused me a bit, since later on she says something different, and if anyone can clarify it at that time, I'd appreciate it. For now, though, our meeting has come to an end as security forces and Arasaka goons flood the abandoned motel and Takamura is sadly killed. V fights his way out of the situation and we end up back in the desert with Johnny Silverhand literally pulling lines from Waiting for Godot, Cyberpunk style.
No, for real. Who fucking comes here to sleep? We're a couple miles outside Night City. Someone leaving town just keeps driving. Somebody going there sleeps in the damn city. What good's a motel in the middle of nowhere?
And then we get a visitor. Also, did V waiting like this remind anyone of No Country for Old Men when Josh Brolin is waiting for the killer in the motel? A doll was sent by Hanako and she calls in saying she's sorry she didn't listen to us before. But because the security team also tried to gun for her, she thinks that's enough to turn sides on Yorinobu. She also wants us to meet with her, but before we can, our malfunctioning is starting to become the norm. V wakes up in some abandoned Pacifica hotel and Johnny gives him these army dog tags that symbolize trust or whatever, but we're still doing Johnny favors regardless. Even worse is that V agrees for a full takeover from Johnny and it goes about the way you'd think it does.
Just got a little biz to take care of first.
Johnny abuses V's body and goes on a rager, drinking, screwing, an all-around wild ride. After regaining control over our body, Rogue explains that Johnny did in fact find a link between Smasher and someone named Grayson, who might be able to get us into Arasaka. Now, I did not look up anything about how to end the game. Yet. So when I thought Johnny was pulling our leg and not really wanting to confront the literal Gundam of this universe, I decided to steer clear of this mission. Even worse is that when I got the pop-up for Nocturne OP55N1, which I think it's a reference to Chopin's Nocturnes, I had no idea what was going to happen. Or not happen. The game says you've reached the point of no return, but if the main jobs are completed, you could go back to the side gigs. Panam called right before getting to the hotel and she said she needed me. So my thought process was deal with the relic, then help her. Folks, this is where my argument ends for player choice not having an impact on the game, and we're going to be discussing mental health, what it means to live and die, and a whole slew of philosophically tragic human conditions that make us exactly that. Human. I dismissed Panam's call and instead went into the hotel to meet Hanako. We start talking to her and she admits she knew that her brother killed her father and even the whole board knew. Then why when she is with Takamura she doesn't say any of that? This is what confused me about that interaction. It would have saved Takamura's life if she had played along on the float or even in the motel it seems. She asks us for Soul Killer, which is a weird thing too, since doesn't she know Arasaka has a version of Soul Killer even stronger than what Alt made? Or is she asking for Alt, which in that case, how did she even know we made contact with the AI version? Hanako does reveal that Mikoshi is indeed under the Arasaka Tower, built over the radiation from Johnny nuking the bastards down. She even tries to convince us to strike a deal with her, meaning she would take us to Mikoshi and separate the relic and us. But I don't buy it from her. She even says that we would be able to testify against Yorinobu, but again, I don't trust her. Even if we don't have much time left. What were we talking about earlier with Alt and the ends justify the means? What more would be asked of V? I chose the dialogue option "we'll see" when Hanako gives what seemed to be like an ultimatum, but then Johnny says we need air and I think we're truly dying.
I warned you.
What are you doing?
What am I doing? I'm showing you what it's like to feel fucking trapped. Asked you, warned you, but you've insisted on not giving a shit. Now this porcelain cunt's gonna use you in her fancy scheme.
You got a problem with that? Cause that's what we wanted. We know where
the gates to Mikoshi. Yeah, beneath Saka Tower. And what's that give us?
What?
What's that fucking give us?
Don't want to team up with Hanako? Can't blame you. Neither do I. What do you say to doing things the old-fashioned way? We make some calls, load up on iron, then we kick down the door to Arasaka Tower.
You want to lead an all-out assault on Saka Tower? Jesus Christ. You could barely stand on your own 2 feet.
Johnny.
Great, you checking out again?
This was excruciating to witness. All this time developing our body through augments we earned, perks we chose, and that feeling of helplessness, well, it's profound. We tried to escape death so many times, and in a way did twice, but this felt different. We crash and black out to find ourselves at Victor's. Honestly, Johnny caring enough to take us there meant more than I thought, but there is no good news. No dialogue option to change the trajectory because we're already here. We're past the fulcrum point, and Victor knows it, Misty knows it, Johnny knows it, and V begins to realize his time is over.
If you got something to say, Vic, just say it.
How much longer is this going to go on?
You tell me.
Looking at you, not long at all. Next attack, you won't be able to crawl back here. You'll flatline in some back alley. This is your last chance to take matters into your own hands. Understand?
Yeah, I know. Thoughts on where to start?
Jesus, again. Do I have to spell it out? It's in your hands, not mine, and not those of that thing in your head.
Victor gives V the choice on ending his life on his terms. Walking with Misty knowing what was about to happen made me cry. Never take a permanent solution to a temporary problem. I thought a lot about that line waiting for the elevator. Misty has taken us to where Jackie and her used to hang out and look out at the city. Not only was this a great tie-in back to her character and V's friend, but it works in another way too. I don't know about you, but I explored up here the very first time I went to Victor's. At the beginning of the game, I found almost nothing of importance. Coming back to the spot now, changed through the experiences and the characters we met, I was experiencing something beyond games. I was experiencing a true story. Johnny and V have their ending monologues, and seeing Johnny not put up a fight for self-preservation made it even more poignant and heavy.
You absolutely sure? No going back on this, you know.
I know. Exactly why we'll do one last thing.
Okay. Lost me. Realize the shit we've been through to get this far.
Sure do.
To let it all go now. Why?
Cleanest, least bloody option. We try anything else, people will die.
People die. It's the way of things.
Am I worth their sacrifice? Are you? Besides, it's the only way we'll both be aware.
Of what? Death?
Mm-hmm. The moment life escapes.
Never really gave it a thought. Funny how you still manage to surprise me sometimes.
Might be something I learned from you.
V, you sure about this?
As long as you got nothing against it.
Not how I'd have done it. But that's all right.
Just like that. No pushback.
Huh. Might have learned a little something from you too. Is it time?
You know, it really is beautiful.
Been nice working with you, V.
Yeah. With you too, Johnny.
This conversation on individuality and its justifications is intense, even if both characters are calm. Do the ends justify the means? Do we slaughter our way to Mikoshi just so V can be copied and Johnny freed? What did we do to deserve a better outcome than the people whose blood we spill? It's an interesting thought, and I truly believed we would get Deus Ex Machina or someone would intervene, Johnny, Panam, Mikoshi itself, but that's how it ends. I was blown away that this ending was it, and was in shock watching the credits. Then the video started to roll. Folks, we only have one life in the real world. We don't have the luxury of seeing all the side characters we've met along the way, talked with, laughed with, loved with, get to say how much we've meant to them when we've gone. Seeing these characters talking into the void, talking to God, whatever you want to believe, that made me think of a better writer than me in their words. I wanted you to see what real courage is. Instead of getting the idea that courage is a man with a gun in his hand, it's when you're licked before you begin. But you begin anyway, and you see it through no matter what. V was licked from the beginning, terminal, whatever you want to call it, but he still tried, and god damn it, did this ending piss me off now. I wasn't going to leave Pan Am like that. I had a chance to do something, no matter the end. I looked up what to do, and I cannot fully describe what it was like reloading that save right before the tower. Knowing what one strand of fate brought to V, and we weren't going to go down that road again, even if we knew we were going to die another way. Instead of not taking the call from Pan Am before Hanako, I drove as fast as I could to see her. Seeing Mitch, Saul, and of course Pan Am was a moment of appreciation so unique that I cannot think of another video game that has reached this level of emotional resonance for me, and I thank CD Projekt Red for their brutal and intelligent way of dealing with these topics and themes. But enough talk, we have some helping nomads to do.
Shit! Pan Am, can you please tell him?
I've already tried. Let it go, Mitch.
The Biotechnica people will be here in an hour. Try not to cock anything else up before then.
The clan is being pushed by both sides, other nomads from the desert and corpos from the city. Pan Am has discovered that a Basilisk, an old military vehicle with a ton of firepower, will be heading their way, and she wants to steal it to gain independence from the stronger entities at play. And I get it, she doesn't want to be pushed around, or her people. We recruit veterans like Mitch and others for the job, but again, don't tell Saul, who is still looking to make a compromise with the Corpo. The heist is simple. We direct an old train car to stop at the right location, take out the convoy, and make our way home with a legitimate military vehicle. I very much enjoyed that this train station is so old that when they need to operate it, 1, they need to find the punch cards, and 2, they don't even know what those are. We get this really beautiful moment between V and Pan Am, and I can almost hear a tonal shift in V's voice. Almost.
Missed you. Pretty bad.
Oh, well, this means... Oh, wait, just wait. This is not how we usually talk.
No time like the present.
Okay, go ahead. That was a joke. Listen, V, I believe I know where this is going.
And not to your liking?
No, it's not that. I also wish to talk about it, just not so openly. My plan was to tiptoe around, test the waters, then retreat back into my shell.
Okay, but let's skip the tiptoeing. Where are we now?
I would not want to cock this up.
So far, so good, champ.
Because I've kept my mouth shut up to now. The thing is, I usually act before I think.
Uh-huh, noticed.
I know. But I also need impulses to act upon. When I do something spontaneously, I feel I'm being honest. Yet with you, I prefer to play it safe.
Why is it any different with me?
Because I truly care this time. Yet I fear I'll do or say something foolish and be left alone in the desert. I would rather keep you close. If only as a friend.
Try following the impulse next time.
Okay. Well, in any case, you've been warned. All right, let's rejoin the others.
It's Pan Am that steals the show and opens up about what she fears and what she wants. Especially after witnessing the other ending, everything feels sweeter. Sitting with the people you care about, the person you love, and looking at the sky is what life is all about. And witnessing that in a video game that actually feels tangible is an achievement all on its own. The next morning, V is awoken by Pan Am, who says we're Delta and the heist begins. Cyberpunk perfected these sequences, and using the turret to mow down these corpos' security was pretty nifty. We steal the convoy rig and escort it all the way back to camp, where Saul greets us with what I expected his reaction to be.
The Basilisk.
All I see is 2 trucks with giant Militech logos on them. Fuck, Pan Am, you can see them from miles away! You think we don't have problems enough on our hands? The Raffens could rear their heads at any moment. And now we have Militech to worry about too.
Stop it! Fuck! Just shut up already! Do you want to serve corporations forever? Fine, go right ahead. In that case, we'll leave the basilisk as a souvenir of what this family used to be. Or you know what? Maybe next time we're attacked, we'll be able to fight back!
As soon as I'm done with Biotechnica, we call a family meeting to discuss this. Discuss you.
Until that time, I want these trucks out of my sight.
The crew needs a day to unload the basilisk, and I took a day to breathe after a lot of thinking. Coming back to the camp, Pan Am and crew have worked on the vehicle, and can we just say wow again to all these unique animations, texture designs, models, everything. Like folks, this is a masterpiece regardless of what genre it's touted itself as. V and Pan Am have a tutorial on the usage of the basilisk, and finally, the two get some peace and quiet. Hell yeah, I was cheering from the rooftops. Also enjoy my homemade Witcher 1 card. Sorry, YouTube stuff. Unfortunately, the rival nomadic group stupidly attacks a military vehicle out in the open. Even more stupid is that they've disturbed our fornication, and they'll pay for that. The camp is attacked and we start blasting. It was a good feeling. After defeating 30 plus enemies, Saul looks like he's about to blow a casket, but instead we get this moving development.
Spare me another speech of yours at the very least.
I'm afraid you'll have to sit through a few more. Because from this day forward, you will lead this family by my side.
I will what?
I wish to do this properly, but fine. Have it your way. I was wrong. You were right. That's the truth. May it never happen again.
But I made a mess of so many things. You said...
I know. But I changed my mind. You risked everything for this family. Not even knowing whether you'd be welcome the next day.
Okay. Okay. Well, many things will have to change.
Yes, and to start with, we need to leave this place. Quickly. We can't wait for Militech to find us.
Of course. I will prepare our route.
See, this is character development I wish V had, but it's from others and it's good. Fuck it. Pan Am and V celebrate at the bar, but we still have a problem. The relic chip is no closer to being fixed or us being saved, and we scare the hell out of Pan Am as we pass out. Waking up, we're able to tell her about Johnny and the construct, and she immediately says she'll go with you, which meant a lot. Now with Pan Am's missions complete, driving back into the city had a different feeling. One where we weren't going to just give up, we were going to fight, and not alone. V re-enters the tower, talks to Hanako, bleeds out and wakes up in Victor's shop. Misty takes us up to the roof, and instead of having the option to end it all, we get to call Pan Am. God bless her.
Hey. Pan Am, hey.
Do you know what time it is?
Won't keep you long. Just wanted to hear you.
Huh. You picked an interesting hour for it. B? Okay, what's going on?
To know that we'll see each other again.
What? You know. Fine. Fuck
no,
off.
No, not like that.
Make up your mind.
Something I gotta do today. Gonna be high risk, big time, but I have to.
What is it?
It's not for comms. Not really.
Then shut up and tell me where you are. In the city?
Yeah.
Okay, then plant your butt somewhere and wait. I'm on my way.
I also think Johnny truly cares about V, and the progression he makes throughout the main story is pretty remarkable. We get this small moment with Misty doing tarot cards, and I love the way she looks at us when she delivers this line.
I think that's for you.
Yep. No mistaking that ride ever.
You scared me, you know that.
Honey, it's good to see you too. Back with the clan, Saul and Pan Am have devised a plan to get into Mikoshi, which we've learned is in the basement of Arasaka. Knowing the group stands for its crew and accepts us as one of their own, while also going to war for us, was a moment of hesitation. Was it really worth it? For us, for Pan Am, maybe worse was done for Helen of Troy. Before we set out on our last hurrah, V makes contact with Alt again, and the two have a pretty interesting conversation about how Alt observed V and Johnny interact. constantly learning from them, which was cool and a bit sketchy, but we were in no position to complain. Also, this line about V seeking simple answers to not simple questions was a great thinking moment.
Your logic is flawed. You seek simple answers where there simply are none. This is the very illusion upon which your world is based.
Even more harrowing is that Alt admits that the real purpose of getting to Mikoshi is that she can absorb all the souls Soulkiller has taken and integrate them into her system. It's a disturbing thought. It doesn't end their suffering. If Johnny is to be believed on how that limbo felt like when he was in Mikoshi for 50 years, I wouldn't want that on anyone. Alt says they will become something greater than their individuality, but no. I've heard the greater good used so many times for nefarious reasons, I was really starting to doubt myself. Alt implants herself in the chip to be plugged into Mikoshi, and we are finally ready to confront Arasaka. But before then, and this is how I knew shit would hit the fan, we truly get accepted into the Aldecados, with a jacket and a crowd. I literally thought I was in Prince of Egypt for a second, and that also made me cry. That movie has more meaning the older you get, trust me.
A mercenary from Night City, from what might as well be another world.
Hey, ask Panam. She knows.
So it's about time we fix that.
Downright injustice it is. It needs fixing.
You're gonna be an Aldecaldo, which means this family will go to hell and back for you. Ready, kid?
Do your worst.
You're one of us now, B. You're an Aldecaldo, damn it.
Great to
Thanks
have
for
you
everything,
with us,
V, and don't worry. We'll get you into that Mikoshi. Isn't that the way
Welcome
of
to
it?
the family.
A warm welcome for our newest Aldecaldo!
Welcome to the clan!
Jacket's incredible.
See? He likes it.
Listen, as soon as we're back from Mikoshi, we'll celebrate. And I know just the place. My treat, of course.
We'll hold you to that.
Don't worry, it's but a formality. You've been a de facto member of this family for a while now. You saved my rumpus, and as Bobby tells it, Mitch's too. I won't even mention Panam.
Go to hell.
Saul's right, though. I mean, let's face it, V. My life was in a million pieces. You broke it into a million more. But sometimes it's only then that you can piece it together again.
Panam and V have another poignant dialogue about her fears on leading, putting people at risk, the whole gambit. And V has a good option to admit that he's scared to die too, all the time, and the two have their moment. The next morning approaches and the engines are starting to rev. It's not just me who is a bit hesitant on going after Mikoshi, but we've come this far. The play is to blast our way through a new development of a maglev tunnel we saw earlier with the Voodoo Boys, and use the drill they have there to breach the basement levels of Arasaka Tower. This vista was incredible and spectacular. Being able to zoom in with the drone and the accompanying sound effect was a chef's kiss. With the area scouted, we load up and head out, but of course things don't go as planned. Not only does the Basilisk have a fault, but the area is a lot more defended than we previously thought. A bunch of people early into the assault get blown up by drone missiles, and hearing Panam, Mitch, and Saul experience their brother and sister's deaths will haunt me. Again, do the ends justify the means? We manage to take down the incoming security forces, and Mitch hangs back to save the others as Saul, V, and Panam make their way to the drill. After some digging and a close call, we finally make it to the underbelly of Arasaka Tower. Sneaking through the place was awesome, and then when we link Alt into the terminal, I think we let out another beast while trying to kill the first.
Something's amiss.
It's the hush.
Does anyone else have the chills? Something happened.
With Alt in the system, every person in the basement, and I assume Arasaka's network, is getting fried, burned, blown up, and soul-sucked. This might not be good, but hell, we have a construct to take out of our head, and this narrative was frickin' incredible, even if it was disturbing as hell. The three finally make it to Mikoshi's front door, and before V lifts it open, folks, I had never experienced what was going to happen next. And I was not prepared. brutal doesn't even frickin' signify how much this hurt or how shocked I was about Saul getting American history X'd right before the finish line. I had almost forgotten about Smasher 2, and all the emotions of this game came down to this boss fight. Of course, V's reaction to seeing the leader of his new clan and friend get his head Captain Crunched is this.
Fuck.
Big sigh. Regardless, Panam and V take on Smasher, and we get one of the more satisfying endings to a narrative thread.
I remember you. Promised to kill Silverhand once. Gonna let you in on a little secret. Johnny, he's here with us. Now he can't talk, but I can feel him under my skin.
What the fuck are you talking about?
In the end, got you. Silverhand triumphs.
With Smasher dead, Johnny avenged, V enters Mikoshi's vault and plugs in. Then we get Alt reading the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock as we walk through cyberspace, and I assume she's disentangling Johnny and my psyche.
Let us go through certain half-deserted streets. The muttering retreats of restless nights in one-night cheap hotels.
But it's a bit more complicated than that. Once we sat down at the table, or even when we were read the poem, that wasn't V, it was his construct. Even worse is that Alt had successfully partitioned the C and D drive, no I kid, the two consciousnesses of Johnny and V, but V's actual immune system is attacking the neurons in his brain, thinking they are foreign invaders. This means that Johnny's construct could still use V's body for his own engram and leave V in cyberspace purgatory. Or V can take the body back through his construct, but he will only have 6 months to live, says Alt. But what did we say about being licked and still trying? Johnny has his final moments with V, and I couldn't help but feel bad for him. A consciousness imprisoned and then awoken by some odd chance with a heist gone bad, reliving his worst nightmares and getting so close to coming back into the real world, he could take it. But he didn't.
Perfect. 'Cause we're sticking to the plan. I'm going with Alt fuck knows where. You're keeping your body.
Where's she even gonna take you?
Beyond the Black Wall. To become part of her. Whatever the hell that means.
And even though he doesn't know where Alt will take him, or even if he will even be an individual once he crosses the wall with Alt, he allows V to meet his own destiny. I mentioned Hitchcock like 2.5 hours ago, but it really felt that that night in the penthouse was not fate, but an ill-timed mishap of the greatest proportions. Alt tries to convince Johnny it won't be so bad in Cyberverse, but what does it mean to be human? It means we feel, we love, we get to cheer and get angry, we touch, we laugh, have good days and bad, and we are ourselves. That's what being human means, and where Johnny and Alt are going, I think they both know that plane of existence is for a new type of life. Code, however you want to describe it, but it certainly isn't human. Johnny gives us his best advice. Live up those 6 months you've got left, and I'm sure as hell going to do that. Goodbye, Johnny. It's been a real pleasure.
For fuck's sake, defend yourself. You're not even trying.
You know, you taught me to let go sometimes. Save my strength for one last big bang. Goodbye, V. And never stop fighting.
And holy moly, we flash forward to our last look at Night City with Panam waiting for us.
This dam. Remember it well. Our beginnings.
I did not know what to make of you then.
Wow, congrats V, you referenced something from before. See, I know you could do it. V and Panam drive through the desert talking about life and how they'll miss Night City, and there is a melancholy undertone from both where they know they don't have much time left, yet the two still go out into the unknown. There's still world building here too because Arasaka is looking everywhere for them, the border wall is being patrolled 10 times as much. Why there is a border wall, or why the government doesn't want people to go to Arizona, is beyond me. I just accepted it as a fact of the world. The storm comes in and we can't get around it. Can't go under it or over it. We just gotta go through it. What a way to end my V story, and what a fantastic game. Everyone that is still here right now, I hope you're doing well. This game resonated with me in many ways, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on your experiences and the ending you had. Seeing the stars and looking at my V finally getting peace was moving and real. Media is supposed to reflect the real world, but sometimes the real world is reflected in media. To love, live, and die is part of the great human journey, and I appreciate you giving your time within this voyage of a video. I sincerely hope you're doing well, and, as always, talk to you next time.
Boobs.